What up? We're live. I know you were expecting some lyrics there. Sorry. Not quite. Good morning. What up, Derps? First things first. Like the video. Good morning. Good morning. Very excited to talk about what we're talking about today. It's a wonderful day to have a YouTube audience. Is that Scissor and the Pipsqueak? The answer is yes. Somebody said I'll be a member one day, I swear. It is $1. All right. By the way, smooth vibes this morning. Nothing but high spirits. First things first, like the video. What up, nerds? Today we're talking about Logan Paul. Wing Wong Wednesday starts early. I've been meaning to talk about this for some time. I'm going to give you all a little bit of background. First things first, I'm going to move this and I'm going to show you the guy. We're talking about this guy. If you look on the right-hand side of your screen, you will see a guy who kind of sucks. He goes by the name of Logan Paul. I got a little bit of backstory. I spend a lot of, oh wait, what's that up in the search bar in the top? Wait, what did Logan Paul do in Japan? I don't know. Thank you for being a member for a month. I appreciate you. Big Dirt. We have Logan Paul today. Logan Paul used to be a Vine person. If you are 92 years old like me, then you remember Vine. It was TikTok before TikTok. Just less addictive. Logan Paul was kind of big on there, and then Vine got shut down. Then a bunch of the Vine stars, Logan Paul, Cody Ko, Drew Gooden, Jake Paul, a whole bunch of people that were big on that former website, they all moved over to YouTube, and they brought their best. Logan Paul. Around 2017, when I really started my addiction to YouTube content, Jake Paul and Logan Paul were the biggest thing on YouTube in the around 2017, 2018-ish areas. Derapy kind of looked like Black Logan Paul. I disagree. By the way, in case you all didn't know, because some people don't, audio only show, yes, I am black. I know, don't freak out, don't leave the video. Drew Gooden is good though, Drew Gooden is. But today we're talking about Logan Paul. Logan Paul, Viner turned YouTuber. In 2017, him and Jake Paul, they exchanged some diss tracks because that used to be a thing. Oh yeah, Logan Paul, not to be confused with Jake Paul, happens, totally get it. Logan Paul actually slept with his brother's ex-girlfriend. I think that's kind of weird. We're not even here to talk about that. I just felt like that was, prevalent. Not a great brother, that guy. I mean, that's just my opinion, though. Everything that I say here is just my opinion, to be fair. Also, Logan Paul, once upon a time, he did this weird thing in Japan. I'm not gonna get into that today, but Google it. It's not good. What else? Oh, as a part of his redemption arc for this very controversial thing he did in the great country of Japan, he came back, he boxed KSI, he boxed Floyd Mayweather, he boxed, and now, after his kind of fake boxing career, he is now a full-time professional wrestler. Logan Paul has this podcast that, I'm not gonna lie, when it first started, I gave it a couple listens, and then I realized that he was kind of an awful person. But today, we are talking about the scams. I know that this is a little bit of old news, but if you are somebody that doesn't live online like me, you might have missed one of the lowest points of Logan Paul's career, and that is the Cryptozoo saga. Now, for us to talk about that, I've enlisted a little bit of help. It is from a YouTube creator that you may be familiar with if you're familiar with my channel, if you're familiar with my beef with the Hawk Tua girl. I have called in a little bit of backup that's going to walk us through Logan Paul's biggest scam. Wait, what's that in the search box? Don't Google what did Logan Paul do in Japan. Yeah, definitely don't do that. But today we have a 7-part series by Coffeezilla. Derek, we're not going to watch all of these, are we? Do I look like I'm doing anything else today? Today, we are going to, for the next, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 hours, however long it takes, we are going to listen to Coffeezilla explain the contents, the context of Logan Paul's failed crypto project, Cryptozoo. Now, in case you didn't know, I have a pretty hard take on crypto. I think it's fucking useless. But we're not here to talk about my personal opinions on crypto today. Today, we are here to talk about what Logan Paul did to his audience. And shout out Coffeezilla in advance for not claiming this live stream we're about to do. Let's talk about Coffeezilla investigating Logan Paul's biggest scam. As per usual, let's check our volume. We are going to run this at 1.25 speed. I hope you have time because this is going to take a while. Here we go. Coffeezilla, Logan Paul, lock in, like the video, grab a snack, stay hydrated, remember to stretch. Here we go.
Cryptozoo.co. I am so excited about this project. It's so fun. It's a really fun game that makes you money.
A fun game that earns you money. How much did you guys make from Cryptozoo?
I lost around $50,000 in Cryptozoo.
I lost 40,000.
I'm going to say this up top. These people that invested tens of thousands of dollars in Cryptozoo, yes, they obviously made a ridiculous error. Some would even call it a severe lapse, a continuous lapse in judgment. But the point is that Logan Paul took this money and delivered them nothing.
I lost around 15,000 US dollars.
I lost $25,000.
$120,000.
Imagine investing $120,000 into a Logan Paul crypto project. Me personally, I wouldn't take that sweet membership money y'all give me and throw 100 racks on a crypto scam. I can assure you that.
$500,000 Australian, which is $500,000 in Cryptozoo.
Shut up! No, you haven't.
Yeah, 500K.
Oh no.
Today, we're investigating Logan Paul's Cryptozoo, a blockchain game that made millions but never worked. Some of you guys think you know the story, but it goes so much deeper.
Some of you all think you know the story, but it goes so much deeper. Shout out Coffee, though. It's Coffeezilla, one of the best YouTubers on the platform. That's the whole sentence.
I've uncovered sociopaths, billionaires, fake orphans. Did I mention fake orphans? And of course, at the center of it, we have Logan Paul himself, who has abandoned this thing, leaving thousands of fake orphans in his wake. Wait a second. Thousands of victims in his wake. Now,
just to be clear, context, this series was released December 16th of 2022.
you'll be hearing from some of those people because their stories are heartbreaking. This is the first in a 3-part series that's been a year in the making. And if you like high-effort investigations like this one, please consider supporting this channel on Patreon.
I'm also on Patreon.
Take sponsors. We are viewer-supported. So if you want to and are able to, thank you. Either way, enjoy the video.
Here we go.
For the last 6 months, I've been working on my own NFT project. We have a massive team behind it
Y'all remember NFTs?
and are probably out of pocket like $1 million just because we believe it's going to work.
I want y'all to remember this. Lock this into your brain. Logan Paul said that he's put $1 million into this project. Lock that in.
September 1st, cryptozoo.co.
We don't scam.
That's
I've
fine.
never scammed anyone before. Logan cares extremely deeply about his audience, loves his brand, doesn't have to scam to make money.
Welcome to part one, the $1 million mystery that began this whole story. Like many people, I first heard about Cryptozoo from a podcast Logan runs called Impulsive, which was the experience of a lot of people that I spoke to.
So I
Boo, mid-ass podcast.
first heard about it on the Logan Paul podcast.
Impulsive, I think.
It was off one of the Impulsive episodes.
The thing that I'm most excited for, and this is the first time I've ever said anything about this. For the last 6 months, I've been working on my own NFT project.
6 months, $1 million.
I think there needs to be a fresh take, and this project that I have is that fresh take.
Now look, at first, I was just as surprised at this pitch as anyone else because I just got finished roasting Logan for a different coin called Dink Doink, which his fans lost money on.
I'm a Dink Doink fan. Dumbest I've ever seen. That's why I'm all in.
It's comedic.
Grown man.
It's fun. It's comedy.
Now look, I know Logan and his friends tried to make it look like Dink Doink was all about the memes, but it turns out they secretly were tied to the project, and Logan created the Dink Doink character himself and subsequently abandoned that project. So if you invested in it, you got blasted, and Logan
If you invested in it, you got blasted.
rightfully took a lot of heat for Dink Doink, which is why I was surprised when he seemingly immediately jumped into another crypto project. But Logan insisted Cryptozoo, it was different. It wasn't his friend's project this time, it was his, and it was
I want y'all to remember that. Logan Paul is taking ownership of this. It's his project. He promoted it on his podcast. That's an important tool for later.
wasn't even a project at all. It was a game that could earn you money.
I honestly forgot about Dink Doink. Yeah, that's the point. That's the thing with these crypto projects, these NFT projects. They promote it, they pump it, they hype it up, you put your money in, they delete it, act like it never happened. I don't know how many times we have to keep going through this, but you know.
I'm excited to launch my game.
You keep using and you just did it again. You keep using a word there. Game. You're not using like a project. It's a game.
It's a game. It's a really fun game that makes you money.
Now you might be wondering, how's it
A really fun game that makes you money.
possible to earn money from a game? Well, let me try to break it down for you. This is how it was supposed to work. You started by buying this crypto token called Zoo, which is their in-game currency, and you use Zoo coins to then buy egg NFTs, which you can then hatch to become animals. You then can breed those two animals to become hybrid animals. For example, if you breed a gorilla and a kitten, you get a gore kitty. And the more
I don't understand who would see this and be like, this is a great investment. I to this day, I don't understand.
rare the NFT, the higher the daily yield of
I'm struggling to be mad at Paul when his scams are so obvious. Look, I hear you. But just because a scam is obvious doesn't mean it's not bad.
Zoo tokens that animal earns you every day. Theoretically, it works like almost like passive income. You can then burn your animal NFTs to release the zoo they earned back to you, and from there you can invest it into eggs or just cash out. Now, some of you of the Egyptian persuasion might notice some triangular qualities to this game description. But let's not be too quick to judge, because remember, there are a lot of NFT games built on this model. It's called play to earn. Now, Logan admits that there are other games like his, but what's going to really make his stand out is that other games have randomly generated assets. His game has handmade art.
Handmade art. Tap in, okay? Because this is one of the few moments where it is essential that you actually look at the screen. I'll let you know when. The handmade art that Logan Paul claims was made for this project, abysmal.
It's quick to make a digital asset with, unique, randomly generated characteristics. We handmade art for the
Handmade art.
past 6 months, bro. Approval, very specific notes, 10 different artists making art for our project.
Now, I'll admit, this
Very specific notes, 10 different artists, 6 months.
all sounds very enticing. Handmade art, a fun game that can earn you money, and one of the biggest influencers in the world backing it. You might think, how can I lose? Which is why when people were told all you had to do to play was buy an egg, people spent millions.
I'm not going to hold you. Logan Paul sounds so convincing. It's always such a great pitch. And then you actually see the shit and you're like, ah.
Just on the first launch between ETH and Zoo, people bought $2.5 million worth of eggs in the first day.
2.5 M's on the first day.
And did I mention the game hadn't even been launched yet? All people were buying was the marketing and the promises. And it wasn't just the NFTs they bought either. The Zoo token also skyrocketed in value, reaching a $2 billion market cap.
I don't know what any of this shit means, by the way. $2 billion market cap. That doesn't make any sense to me. But there was $2.5 million in real money that was put into this before it even came out.
Pre-game launch, right? The trading volume was in the tens of millions of dollars per day, which kind of is like Fortnite not coming out, but people trading tens of millions of dollars in V-Bucks every day. That's what this was like. And I know it sounds...
I love Coffeezilla talking to me like I'm 11 years old. Okay, think about it like it's V-Bucks. It's like trading V-Bucks, but there's no Fortnite.
Sounds stupid to buy an influencer project, but you have to understand, people saw Logan as different.
It was Logan Paul at the end of the day. An internet personality that I actually trusted, that I actually kind of believed in.
Obviously, when...
See, this is the shit that's upsetting to me, right? It's easy to say the scam is obvious. Why would you do it? Why would you put that much money into something? But, you know, there are probably some derps that look up to me as like a trustworthy figure, you know, not as like a role model. I mean, if I inspire and motivate naturally, I mean, that's pretty cool, I guess. You know, I do be out here trying to put on a... But if I was putting out a product, whether it be merch or some type of program or thing you could buy into, if my name is attached to it, then I'm basically staking my reputation on this thing. The problem with these crypto scams is that for some reason, people find a way to detach themselves from it almost immediately after the project ends, which is usually immediately after the project starts. What I don't understand is how people will push these things and then their fans will buy into it because they're buying into the person, not the actual project. I don't want to believe that people saw the project and just removed Logan Paul from it and just believed in fucking mashing animals together digitally to make money. I think that they believed in the human being. And that's why, like, that's why this shit is so crazy. And I feel like it's a great way to convey just how shitty of a person that Logan Paul is. The fact that his name was on the front of this project. What a nurse.
Someone so influential releases something, everyone wants to be a part of it.
I still believe in this.
This guy's smart. I personally wouldn't want my face on this video after admitting that I put thousands of dollars into this shit.
False fallacy that everyone else started believing that Logan Paul's a changed man.
I thought it was a safe place having a guy like that identified, like Logan Paul being the head of the project.
They had seen this story he had been telling
the head of the project.
Everyone that he was this reformed influencer, right? That he was no longer a reckless clout goblin just in it for the money. They thought this time it's different. Logan Paul couldn't possibly scam us, right? But as the game got closer,
Logan Paul couldn't possibly scam us. Famous last words.
To release, the Cryptozoo team started releasing the first ever.
Brother, brother, look at this. 6 months. 10 different artists, handmade art, $1 million. Look at your screen. As Cardi B once said, Grammy Award-winning rap artist, what is that?
Ever photos of these animals. And come to find out, this handmade art story wasn't really true. It was actually Adobe stock photos mashed together.
Adobe stock photos mashed together. Look at this shit, dog. $1 million, 10 different artists, 6 months.
Sort of first red flag of this project. And I made a video about it at the time, but it was kind of surface level, and something didn't add up beneath the surface. Something where I just couldn't shut this case down in my head. It was actually part of the announcement video that something they said. See if you can spot it.
We have a massive team behind it and are probably out of pocket like $1 million. Just because we...
Massive team, $1 million. Y'all saw the art, though. The art, though.
Believe it's going to work.
On development.
Yeah.
That's the line that started this whole mystery. We spent $1 million on development. I couldn't get this.
I love that that's his thesis, because that's the same thing that I would think. That's all I want to figure out. What the fuck y'all spend $1 million on? I know it's not that.
It's out of my head. No, is he lying? There's no way he expects people to believe he spent it on art. So wait, maybe he spent it on blockchain stuff, right? That's what I thought. But then I audited the smart contract, and it's not handmade at all. It's not even original. It's what's called a fork, a copy of, some other code that exists out there. One of them is called Floki Shib X, which launched before it. So where'd this $1 million go? I didn't understand. And Logan just kept repeating this claim.
We put hundreds of thousands of dollars in it. Personally, the whole team, $1 million.
He said it again.
Plus.
Now, at the time I'm looking into this, there's a teaser going around for Hatch Day, which is the day you can hatch your egg NFTs. And it kind of symbolized the true launch of Cryptozoo. So I thought, maybe this is it. Maybe this is where they spent all the money.
It could have bred the animals IRL. I mean, for $1 million.
Money on their game. Even their community manager, Ben Roth, promised people, after Hatch Day, things will take a turn for the 180. So I put Ben Roth on the board too. I needed to know
Put him on the board.
All the characters in Cryptozoo. And I waited. And finally, on November 3rd, 2021, Ben Roth turned out to be right. Things did take a turn on Hatch Day, only for the worse. Let's meet one of the victims, Helicopter Bob, to explain more.
My name is
Helicopter Bob.
Rob. Helicopter Bob lost just under $7,000 with Cryptozoo.
And the first thing I asked Bob was about his animals.
First thing I'd ask Bob is, why the hell you put $7,000 in a fucking Cryptozoo?
He was making money with Cryptozoo, how much he made, and if the passive yield worked.
Oh, it never did from the beginning. It wasn't even written into the contract where it showed that you were actually yielding zoo, but there was nothing that was actually, backing that up. There was no way to claim your yield. There never was.
No way to claim your yield. There never was.
Wait. Play that again. Did you hear that?
There was no way to claim.
Yo! Shout out Emily Raven for becoming a member. Joining the Big Derps. Appreciate you. It's $1 to become a member, by the way. $1.
Your yield. There never was.
Hold on. The core mechanic of Cryptozoo, that you can make money with these stupid animals, didn't even work on launch day, and still
didn't work on launch day is crazy. How you put $1 million into some shit? It don't even work day one. Day one, it doesn't work. Doesn't work day one. Not working day one not working. Madness.
To this day, a year later, still does not work, is what the...
To this day, 3-4 years later, there is no Cryptozoo. Spoiler alert.
Investors are saying, which...
Oh my goodness. Oh my dear. Oh. DimJam26, thank you so much for becoming a member. Join the Big Derps. $1.
This is just crazy. People spent millions of dollars on these eggs. But it even gets worse because I kept talking to people and I discovered something. Because remember I told you you could buy eggs with those zoo coins? Well, apparently they also made it so you could buy them with Ethereum. And on the day of selling, about half of these purchases took place with Ethereum. Only it turns out for the people who spent ETH, not only did the yield part of it not work, did the NFTs not pay you, you also couldn't even hatch them.
So I acquired a bunch of eggs, and I actually want to play the game. I didn't acquire the eggs with the intent of keeping them. I actually wanted to hatch them and see what I got out of them.
Poor guy actually wanted to play the game. What even is the game? Get eggs, hatch eggs, see what Adobe stock images were mashed together? I don't get it. Thank you. Yo, Alyssa. Yo! Thank you for joining, Big Derps. Appreciate you. $1 to become a member.
And play in this ecosystem that's been advertised or whatever, right? And then I can't do anything. It's not showing up on the website when I
can't do anything.
Check my wallet, etc., etc. So I'm a little baffled. I'm like, I must be doing something wrong. So I open up a support ticket. with Cryptozoo, and Ben Roth is actually the person answering my support ticket. Oh yeah, no, it's down for the moment, but we're working.
It's down for the moment, but we're working on it on the first day.
On it. Let me tell you, it's never been up.
Wait, you can't even hatch?
No, I'm telling you, it's just a picture. There's nothing I can do with it.
You're kidding? You can't hatch?
There's nothing.
It's just a picture. Yeah, dog. That's what an NFT is.
Nothing I can do with it. You could ask any of those community guys. That's basically worth nothing whatsoever.
Wow. So on launch day, basically nothing worked, and a year later, that's still true. Now, after this was discovered, the price of Zoo fell 63% in just 24 hours.
The price fell 63% in the first 24 hours. Classic crypto project. You know the vibes.
And at this point, Logan Paul basically goes silent on Cryptozoo. No more podcast mentions, no more saying he handmade art. Cryptozoo already got millions in investments, but Logan only speaks in the Discord twice over the next year to say, quote, sober, currently shaking my head, and yo. That was his contribution to this project. Meanwhile, his community manager, Ben Roth, was actively claiming that Logan was going to be marketing Cryptozoo any day now. He told people things like, Logan is an uncontrollable marketing guru. It's over when we launch.
Logan is an uncontrollable marketing guru. Bro, it's over when we launch. Just wait, bro. Just wait. He's a monster.
And when we have a product to market, it'll get marketed.
When we have a product to market, it'll get marketed? Maybe just have the product ready when you say it's going to be ready. Wait, this Discord message is from December 16th. Launch day was supposed to be in November. What do you mean when we have a product? It's already after launch day. Ah!
And marketing will crush. I promise you. And this...
Oh my... Yo.
When we have a product to market, it'll get marketed. And marketing
will crush, I promise you.
Will crush, I promise you. And this disconnect between Logan abandoning the project and his team on Cryptozoo saying that it was going to be any day now left investors feeling like they were being led on.
All you had to
no shit.
do was go on and tell us, look, there's something going on with this project, I'm abandoning it, or whatever, before people got more and more track. And promising, yeah, this is going to be...
See, Logan Paul doesn't believe in taking an L, you know? The most human, decent thing you could do is just say, you know what, I thought I could make it work, but it turns out I actually can't. My bad, guys, sorry. He just wouldn't do it.
Great, but when it came to actually doing anything, he just hid away from it.
Have some decency to come out, talk to the people that invested initially, that invested along the way on all of the fake and false promises, on all of the false hype, and be honest with people.
Ben Roth looking mad sus.
Because surely Logan Paul, who's got this $1 billion hydration company and WWE star, he's got enough money. He doesn't need to rug us lot.
And it's because of these false promises about marketing that these poor investors believed in Cryptozoo so long. They sat and watched every Logan Paul episode trying to guess and decipher when this so-called marketing push would happen.
Bro, that's actually so sad. Imagine investing tens of thousands of dollars into Cryptozoo because Logan Paul told you to on his podcast. And then he goes dead silent on it. He's not in the Discord. He's not saying anything on Twitter. And you're watching every single Logan Paul podcast just hoping and praying that he says something about what you invested in. And he just never mentions it. That shit is actually really sad. I'm not going to lie.
And Logan and his team really fed into this with a lot of cryptic...
Time wasted, yeah.
Messages. Only a month after Cryptozoo's launch, actually, the hatch day, they started teasing this.
Not too much of this is out, but he's been working on a massive project.
And one of them would be the biggest thing I ever do. It would be it's like my life and soul is put into this project, which is where most of my time these days goes.
Wow, surely this...
So on April 8th of 2022, Logan says, next week, I dropped the trailer for a passion project I've poured my life into. This will be the biggest thing I've ever done. So if you're one of those people that invested thousands and thousands of dollars, bot on Twitch chat, report him or something. If you're one of those people that's been watching Impulsive episodes back to back to back to back, waiting for him to say something about Cryptozoo, and then you see finally in April, months after this was supposed to launch in November, okay, you're like, oh snap, he's finally gonna drop like a trailer for the next phase of Cryptozoo or something.
Secret project that Logan put his soul into is Cryptozoo, right? You know, the project he launched a month ago? Well, his fans certainly thought so.
I'm like, holy cow, it makes so much sense. He's talking about Cryptozoo, banning the...
Oh my god, he's talking about Cryptozoo. Oh my god.
These are like putting smiley faces and egging the rest of the community. Like, this is it, guys. You know, this is what we've been working towards. I mean, this is it. This it's finally happening.
Oh, the childlike glee in this man's voice.
Logan's gonna market the project, and they kept saying that Logan's gonna market the project, and it's gonna change everything.
Senpai's gonna notice us.
So now imagine their surprise when another clip surfaces of Logan finally admitting this secret project isn't Cryptozoo at all. It's something else entirely.
I'll tell you about this project when we get closer to launch. Yeah. This project line is going to be...
Is that the thing with the egg? Like the
No.
Okay, this one.
Not Coffeezilla counting the amount of times he said no. That's so funny. That is meticulous editing right there. That's crazy.
We get closer to launch. This project line is going to be...
Is that the thing?
Is that the thing with the egg? Is that Cryptozoo? No.
With the egg? Like the
No.
Okay,
This one's gonna be this has been crazy. We're done.
Oh man.
No, I'm actually serious about this one. No. I'm actually gonna try on this one. No. It's not the egg thing. It's not the egg thing. Fuck that.
And can you imagine if you're one of these investors and Logan Paul's going pitching this new secret project and you're thinking it's Cryptozoo and someone's like, oh, is it that thing with the eggs? And he's like, no, definitely not. That was the last project. This is the real project that I'm working on. Thankfully, people didn't just let this slide because as he went around making the rounds on his new project called 99 Originals, people were like, hey, didn't you just abandon your last one?
Hey, wait a second. Didn't you just do a crypto project? How are you talking about this new crypto project when you just did a crypto project? But you didn't finish it. That's crazy. That'd be like me saying that I'm going to review an album and then doing like half the songs on the album and then just going on and talk about other stuff and pretending like I never even started that series. That would be a wild thing to do.
And unsurprisingly, it's not his fault. It's the bad actors who ruined the project.
As I see people giving multiple explanations for why these haven't worked, and you know there's accusations out there. How does it make you feel when people are doing these takedown videos about your NFT projects previously?
Shout out True Jordy for apparently trying to actually ask a real question. Hopefully we get a real response from Pogan Law here.
Accusations out there. How does it make you feel when people are doing these takedown videos about your NFT projects previously?
It's sad because of what I just said. There's so much going on behind the scenes. Like, Doug, I'm not the bad guy here.
Yeah.
There's some.
I'm not the bad guy. All I did was ask you to invest your money and then not do the thing. I'm not the bad guy.
Actual out there. Yeah. And it's not me. Like, I'm here to build.
This is a space where a lot of people do see dollar signs. Like any burgeoning industry, there's money to be made. There's going to be both good and bad people.
There's a lot of shady characters in the crypto space. I'm learning all of it. We had an issue with Cryptozoo where our lead developer took the code that he made, fled to Switzerland.
It was one of the worst performances I've seen in my life. I couldn't sleep last night because I
actually fled to Switzerland and like held it hostage for $1 million. Like behind the scenes drama that took a stick and stuck it in the spokes of my wheels.
Oh, well, that wasn't expected. There's a shady developer who held up Logan's code hostage in Switzerland. That's why this hasn't worked the whole time. He held it hostage for $1 million. Well, let's add that to the board. I mean, isn't the mystery solved? Now, obviously, the first thing I wanted to do was hunt down this developer, who we'll be calling Z here, and find out the truth of what happened. Why did he steal Logan's code for $1 million? However, I finally got a hold of him, and when I did, he admitted he took the code hostage, but he says the reason for it was nothing like what Logan had said.
He never gave me anything at all.
Okay, so this person, apparently, the Z character, they took the code. Did Pogan Law say fled to Switzerland? Yeah, apparently this guy took the game code and fled to Switzerland. But now he's saying it's because Logan Paul didn't pay him. But Logan Paul says they put $1 million into the project. And this is the lead developer. So let me get this straight. Logan Paul and his team, personally, he spent $1 million. It clearly didn't go into the art because we saw that shit. It was gross. And this guy's the lead developer, and he said he didn't get paid either. So where is this money going?
I never paid. And it got to a point when I was working on it where I just realized they were just going to try to steal all of my work and not pay me. So I took all of the source code private. And I kind of spent like a month just trying to negotiate and get something figured out where I would finally get paid. Because like I'm on my end, I have a team of 30 engineers, so I'm earning $50,000 a week on building this thing.
This is madness. Also, shout out Candidly Speaking. I appreciate you. Appreciate the kind word. Derapy. I'm glad you decided to take on YouTube full time. Me too. You're doing good, bro. Thank you. Congrats. I appreciate it.
And the only thing they brought to the table were a bunch of Photoshop JPEGs.
So Z,
the only thing they brought to the table was a bunch of Photoshop JPEGs. Even the developer on the project was like, I don't know about all this, guys. This shit just looks like Photoshopped Adobe images. I don't know how comfortable I feel about really investing my life into this project.
He claims he wasn't blackmailing anyone. He had to hire a team.
I missed the beginning of this. Did you remind us that you're black? I actually did.
To develop this whole thing, and he just wanted to be paid for the work they did. According to him, they negotiated a $1 million payday for this whole project. And from the second I heard that, I thought, oh, that's interesting, because Logan claims he spent $1 million on this whole thing.
Interesting. Yo, this reminds me of that clip from Amber Heard, where she was supposed to donate some money, and they were like, "Did you donate the money?" And she was like, "Yes, I pledged to." And they were like, "Okay, but did they get the money though?" And she's like, "I pledged to give them the money." And they're like, Miss Amber Heard, are you aware of the fact that pledging to do something and actually doing something are totally different? And she's like, I pledged to donate the money. Logan, Call Saul, is out here saying that he paid $1 million. But this guy says that they agreed for him to pay him the $1 million, but he hasn't been paid it yet. Why would he flee with the code to Switzerland if he was paid? Now, Logan clearly didn't pay 10 different artists to do handmade art because we saw the art. He also hasn't paid this guy because if he paid this guy, why would he take the code and flee to Switzerland? So, somebody lying. And I think it's Jake Paul's brother.
And this developer saying he's owed $1 million on this project. Now, I didn't want to just take one person's word for it, so I later confirmed with another developer who worked for something called the Blockchain Center that he also hadn't been paid.
We've been paid nothing. I would have loved to have
We've been paid nothing.
Zoo, but I don't have any.
So that's multiple sources working on the Cryptozoo team project who were not paid. Now, obviously, these are big...
Who is he paying them?
...accusations, which is why I wanted to confront Logan Paul on them. But unfortunately, we're not exactly on speaking terms.
He tried to reach out to Logan, but Logan blocked him.
So I wondered, how could I speak to Logan without speaking to Logan? And that's when I found out there was someone who might know just as much about this whole story.
And I will explain everything one day with my manager, who's like,
oh, with his manager. He'll explain everything one day. One day. Me personally, if somebody has paid me for stuff, or I've told people I'm going to pay them for stuff, I wouldn't say, my manager and I will explain it someday. I'd probably get on that ASAP.
In charge now.
Logan Paul's manager, a guy named Jeff Levin. He might be just what we need to...
Shout out Jeff Levin. Probably, and this is going to sound shocking, he's like up there with Logan as far as like stupidest people in this situation. Because I want you all to think about this. This matters, okay? This guy that we're looking at on screen right now, this dork, okay? He's Logan Paul's manager. Logan Paul probably trusts this man with millions of dollars. Probably trusts him more than most people in his life, okay? He's responsible for getting Logan deals, facilitating things, PR, etc., etc. He probably has a lot of responsibility. I've heard Logan talk about manager Jeff a lot, okay? We're going to hear his interactions directly with Coffeezilla. And when I tell you this man is so unqualified
to settle this whole thing. So I gave him a call.
Hello?
Hey, Jeff. Hey, sorry to bother you. This is Steven with Coffeezilla. I'm calling because I've heard reports that Cryptozoo hasn't paid their development team, and I'm just reaching out.
Damn, he gets straight into the business.
For comment before I do this story. I got your number from one of the development team, and they just wanted to, I just want to follow up on that.
I have no comment for it.
Look at Coffeezilla's face right now. Look at Coffeezilla's face. Coffeezilla said that he got word from the development team that they hadn't been paid. And they gave Coffeezilla Jeff, the manager's number. Coffeezilla reaches out to manager Jeff. He's like, hey, yo, these people haven't been paid for this project. And I'm about to run a story. This man said no comment. None? You have nothing to say? Now, there are a couple of things that you could say that still aren't really an answer. Oh, we're in the process of getting these people paid. Or, that's not true. Everybody that's supposed to be paid should be paid. Or, let me follow up with that specific team. Let me follow up with them and I'll get back to you. How do you have no comment? I don't remember the last time I've had no comment on anything. I'm not going to hold you.
Okay, are you guys denying it, or are you saying it's not true?
There's no comment. I don't think that the information is true.
Okay, because they're saying $1 million hasn't been paid in development for Cryptozoo, and Logan Paul said publicly that it has been paid. So, I mean, it's pretty serious accusation, and obviously, I don't want.
Imagine somebody asking you, "Yo, this guy says you owe him $1 million," and you're like, "No comment." Yo, so Buddy said that you and Logan were gonna pay him out $1 million. Nothing? Nothing. No comment. Nothing. I got it. Hey yo. Homie said you owe him a whole M. You owe him like a neighborhood. No comment. Next time I borrow some money for a friend and they're like, hey, You remember when you said it would be easier for us to like not split the check, but like you would hit me on Venmo for like that 25, 30 bucks? No comment. Just no comment. Okay. All right. I mean, interesting defense, but we'll see. We'll see if it works out.
I'm gonna just run a story. If you guys have a whole side to your story here.
Your job as someone that is reporting news is to actually verify correct news.
Right, that's why I'm calling you.
I know, and that's legal grounds for that stuff. So I'm just telling you.
That's legal grounds for that stuff.
Legally, you have to report correct news with verifiable information.
Right, that's why I'm calling you. They've given me a lot of things.
Coffeezilla is so much more patient than I would be.
A lot of evidence.
Okay, well, okay. You can have the evidence you want, but I'm just letting you know, if you report anything on us, I appreciate your business. I appreciate you as a person. And I'm just telling you, from a legal standpoint, as we've been advised always, is if anybody reports fake news, that's where we won't,
Yeah, this call was...
Bro, this is actually so embarrassing. I'm sorry. Just knowing that this is the person that represents Logan Paul is all I need to know about Logan Paul. Buddy is a bumbling idiot. What do you mean? He's like, for the record, it's your job to, as a journalist, okay, you report the truth. You need sources. And he's like, dog, it's the reason we're on the phone. And he's like, hey, from a legal standpoint, I just wanted to, don't go out reporting stuff without reaching out to sources. And he's like, that's why I called you, though. Well, I have no comment. And if you say that I had no comment, I'm telling.
A mess. Jeff, Logan's manager, seems to be implying that I'm not allowed to repeat allegations his own development team made, even though Logan can go on podcasts and publicly accuse those developers of stealing his code. Not only that, he's the one who refuses to provide any evidence, but seems to sort of be implying that maybe we'll sue you if you tell this to anyone, which he then denies doing when I ask him if that's what he's doing.
Told you I have no comment to it. Telling you once again, from a legal standpoint, you have to report truth. If you do not verify truth.
From a legal standpoint, you have to... hold on.
Once again, from a legal standpoint, you have to report truth.
From a legal standpoint, you have to report truth. I mean, you should report truth. But if a guy tells Coffeezilla that Logan Paul scammed them, let's say Z tells Coffeezilla Logan scammed me. He didn't pay me. And then Coffeezilla reports this guy says that Logan Paul didn't pay him. Even if it turns out that that's not true, you can't sue Coffeezilla because he reported something that someone told him. The responsible thing to do is to fight the claim. Give a comment. Say it's not true. You can't just be like, you are not allowed to repeat what you heard or we'll sue you. That's just not how journalism works. I'm sorry.
If you do not verify truths, then you're just allegations, and those then will be handled the way that we want to handle them.
Those will be handled the way that we want to handle them. This weak-ass threat is crazy. Just say you're going to sue him. Just say, if you lie on my name, I'm going to sue you. I would at least have more respect for you. Even though it's stupid, say the words you want to say.
Wait, so you're saying you refuse to give me proof that the allegations aren't true, but if I report on the allegations, you guys might sue.
No, I did not say that. I did not say that.
I'm trying to read between the lines.
Don't read between the lines.
Okay.
Listen to the exact words that I'm saying.
Okay.
He's trying so hard to like Lil Bro Coffeezilla, but it's just not working because he's an idiot.
Listen to the exact words I'm saying.
I'm listening.
I have no comment on the situation.
Coffeezilla trying not to laugh is crazy.
Okay.
Your job legally is...
Your job legally? Imagine telling a journalist what their job is. This is so fucking infuriating. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to crash out. It personally offends me when people try to bully journalists, naturally. It's like the two things that I hate the most are being combined right now. Trying to keep journalists from reporting on a story and just like trying to bully somebody for no reason. It's pissing me off. I'm not going to lie.
To report facts. If you don't report facts on the information you're given, it is illegal.
Yes, that was a real conversation.
That's just...
Facts on the information you're given, it is illegal.
If you don't report facts on the information you're given, that's illegal. But He's literally... If somebody says, hey, Derek, I heard that Stacy was wearing a skirt at the mall yesterday. And then I tweet, hey, I heard Stacy was wearing a skirt at the mall yesterday. Stacy can't sue me because I'm just repeating what somebody told me. But he's acting like reporting is illegal. He's literally asking you for information. And you're like, I'm not saying anything, but if you say anything, we might have to legally do something vaguely to you. Y'all some hoes. I'm sorry.
Yes, that was a real conversation with a real person. Now, I'm no lawyer, but I don't think it's a crime to say that multiple developers say they haven't been paid, and Logan's team refuses to provide any evidence or like statements or wire transfers that they have. Which, by the way, seems incredibly ironic, given just how much Logan whines about not being paid by Floyd Mayweather.
Where's my money, bitch? Floyd never paid me for our fight. Who am I, the IRS?
Nope, but you might be the Cryptozoo dev team. Now, in all seriousness, I do want to acknowledge something which actually kind of looks bad a bit on the developers, because it turns out very few written contracts were actually done. So much of this were verbal deals like, oh, we'll take care of you. We'll give you $350K. We'll give you $1 million. We'll give you whatever. But then when it was time to actually sign the deals, there's just always delays.
What kind of promises were made to you? Verbal promises, basically. So,
Logan Paul looked you in the eyes, shook your hand, and said, I'm going to give you $1 million. You didn't get that shit in writing? You didn't get that shit in writing? You, sir, are a buffoon. I would like to feel bad for you, but you literally took Logan Paul at his word, which is absolutely crazy, dog. I'm not gonna lie.
verbal promises, and then we followed up with like a physical paper agreement. But that's when communication broke down.
This is where I think the dev guys screwed up and led to this whole situation of like, okay, we're just going to take the code private until you pay us for our work. And to be clear, I'm not justifying not paying someone for what they did. I'm just playing devil's advocate and saying this could have all been avoided by just getting every detail in writing. And I think it's just a good general lesson. But if you're thinking that that's the...
If somebody is offering you anything more than like a couple $100, like $1,000 or more, you should probably get that in writing. Buddy really thought that Logan Paul was gonna pay him hundreds of thousands of dollars because they had a firm handshake. Boy, if you don't get the fuck...
$1 million mystery solved, well, no, because this still doesn't make sense. Why not just pay the dev team what you publicly said?
Also, for the record, Logan Paul should just pay them, but you know, whatever.
You kind of already paid them. Why not pay for a game that now isn't launched and now investors are so angry about? Why not pay when you already made millions from minting the eggs on...
Also, to be fair, the game didn't even work when it's first launched, so like, but it would make more sense if Pogan Law just came out and was like, yeah, I didn't pay them because the game didn't work. But Logan Paul's too stupid to do that.
This game. Well, this is where things get even stranger, because right when I was ready to pin everything on Logan, and believe me, he is at fault, I was speaking to the Z developer, and I heard a name that I hadn't heard before.
I basically came in with Eddie, and Eddie promised me 5% of tokens and $1 million. He never paid me.
Wait a second. Who's Eddie? I thought that...
Eddie.
All of this was Logan.
Sorry, I'm fine.
Paul. I only put it together when the Blockchain Center guys also said a similar thing about their deal. They said they were promised $350K, and it was Ibanz. They say they had no communications with...
So this blockchain person says 350,000, and it was Ibanz had no communications with Logan? Okay, but if they had no communication with Logan, why didn't manager Jeff just say that, though? Is anybody here smart?
With Logan. But we know they weren't talking about different people. They both dealt with the same guy. So the guy's name, I put it together, must be Eddie Ibanz.
Put him on the board!
Turns out he was managing the developers. What's this random guy doing in Logan Paul's project? And who is he? Who is Eddie Ibanz?
Whose man is this?
Yes, hi, my name's Eddie Ibanz.
All right, no spoilers for next episode. Hey, how are we doing? I'm checking in. In case you all didn't know, what we're doing right now, we're going through Coffeezilla's Cryptozoo series. That was part 1. We're trying to get to the bottom of this Logan Paul nonsense. We got Ben Rosen, Eddie Ibanz, some dude named Z that was a developer on the project. We got Logan Paul. We got dumbass manager Jeff. Coffeezilla's on the hunt. Part 2. Here we go. Stretch. Remember to stay hydrated. Like the video. And if you'd like to become a member, it's literally $1. It's $1. Join the big derps, get exclusive points, join the Derapy Discord. Man. All right, here we go. Part 2 is called The Biggest Fraud in Logan Paul's Scam. Love the show. Keep it up, Derapy. Thank you. I appreciate you. Shout out my people on Twitch. I don't know how many of y'all there are. There might just be 2 or 3. But love you, mean it. Hey, here we go. The Biggest Fraud in Logan Paul's Scam, Part 2. Lock in, lock in, lock in, lock in, lock
For
in.
the
Lock in. Lock in. Let me check our volume. Let me make sure that we're on time and a quarter speed. I freaked it. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Whoa, what's that up in the search bar? Don't Google what did Logan Paul do in Japan. Oof. All right. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Part 2.
For the last 6 months, I've been working on my own NFT project. Cryptozoo.co. It's a really fun game that makes you money.
I lost around $50,000 in Cryptozoo.
I lost $40,000.
$500,000 Australian.
Buddy really threw $500,000 the Logan Paul project as madness.
See, I'm telling you, it's just a picture. There's nothing I can do with it.
Wait, you can't even hatch?
No.
We had an issue with Cryptozoo where our lead developer took the code that he made, fled to Switzerland, and like held it hostage for $1 million.
He never paid.
How did he hold it hostage for $1 million when you said you paid $1 million for the project? But okay.
Anything at all, ever. Eddie promised me 5% of tokens and $1 million. He never paid me.
Wait a second. Who's Eddie? I thought that all of this was Logan Paul. What's this random guy doing in Logan Paul's project? And who is he? Who is Eddie Ibanz?
Who is he? Who is he? Who is this Ed boy? Who? Ed boy. Like the video.
To begin answering the question of who Eddie is, I decided to take a deep dive. I started by looking through all the news articles I could on Eddie, where I found out he graduated from MIT, and from there became a data scientist and cybersecurity expert, and used that technical background to win a Super Bowl for the Eagles. And there were videos on him too, which all painted him as
Eddie Ibanz used his hold on.
Technical background to win a Super Bowl for the Eagles.
Yeah, this Eddie Ibanz character used his technological savvy to win a Super Bowl for the Eagles. Sure, dog.
And there were videos on him too, which all painted him as brilliant and extremely accomplished.
Yes, hi, my name's Eddie Ibanz. I'm a father of 3, lead developer here at Cryptozoo.
As a teenager, he successfully hacked AOL from his bedroom. He continued to pursue computer science until attending MIT. He was then recruited out to work for a government agency in cybersecurity development.
They're talking about this dude like he's L at a Death Note or something. This shit is ridiculous.
Developing software.
He hacked AOL from his bedroom as a young teenager. He got into MIT when he was 4 years old. He graduated from Harvard in 6 months with a law degree. Come on, dog. Ain't no way anybody believed this shit. What do you mean?
That reverse engineers the location of known government and terrorist threats.
He taught Rafael Nadal how to serve harder. He smoked Serena Williams in a set to 5. He's the reason Usain Bolt retired. He's too quick.
Started with the federal government, and you started off really tracking criminals with burner phones and all.
Honestly,
he solved a Rubik's Cube at 1.
After this whole search, I felt more confused than ever. If Eddie's such an amazing guy, why didn't he pay developers? And is he really the puppet master behind Crypto?
Did Coffeezilla get a fade? Wait, is that a low top fade? Damn.
Cryptozoo? Or is it someone else? Honestly, I felt like at this point I needed a drink and I needed to ask for help.
Coffee, how's it going?
Not good.
Oh, what happened?
Well, I'm confused about this Eddie Ibanz guy. He comes out of nowhere with this Cryptozoo story and everything about him I find seems great.
So, what's the problem?
Well, everything's not great. Everything about this guy just seems too perfect. He's an MIT grad, he works for the military.
He's an MIT grad, he works for the military, he can smell what The Rock is cooking, he can see John Cena, he beat Chuck Norris in a push-up contest.
He even claims he won a Super Bowl. Why would that guy work for Logan Paul?
He claimed he won a Super Bowl.
I don't know, but I can find out. You said his name is Eddie Ibanz?
I think he goes by Eduardo technically, but wait, what are you doing?
I'm pretty sure he edits the Derapy podcast. He's the GOAT for real.
Looking around. And done.
Well, what'd you find?
A few red flags, a couple of misdemeanors. Ooh, a few court cases. I'll send them over.
Just getting in. Did you end up listening to The Dark Side of the Moon this morning? No, I actually ended up listening to Little Sims. He can smell The Rock's cooking. He was the first to like the video.
He got sued by his landlord for not paying rent.
He got sued by his landlord for not paying rent. Damn, how the turnstable.
By his credit card company for not paying his bill.
You can skip that stuff. I just need whatever's relevant to Cryptozoo.
Well, that's basically it. Other than, hold on. No, wait, I did find something. Look at this.
What's this?
It's from a paper in Philly. I barely picked it up. This reporter says Eddie's entire story is fake.
Wait a second. He's a con artist? No, not somebody that Logan Paul hired. That guy won the Super Bowl single-handedly. No shot.
What? Yeah, the whole Eddie Ibanz.
He moved the fridge out of the hallway.
His character. This guy Adam Robb investigated it. He says it's a lie.
I gotta find this guy. Send me his info. I got some calls to make.
Coffee.
That's right.
Coffeezilla, great YouTuber, not the world's best actor.
Lie.
I gotta find this guy. Send me his info. I got some.
I gotta find this guy. Send me his info. I'm gonna exit to the left here.
Calls me.
Coffee.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We met up with Adam Robb, the reporter who's been investigating Eddie Ibanz.
Something about those Ed boys always scamming.
For a while now, and I wanted to know, what did Adam think of him when they first met?
I wasn't quite sure what to make of him. Based on what I knew about him, he was a MIT grad who went on to work for the CIA and the Defense Department, and I didn't want to waste his time. And it wasn't long after I sat down that I realized he was wasting my time.
Can you tell me about some of the lies Eddie told you?
Eddie has told me so many lies over the course.
Gifted a membership. Somebody get that. Somebody get that. Somebody get that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. Anybody can become a member, by the way. It's $1.
Of my 2 interviews with him. And the first lie he told me is probably the oldest lie that he's told so many people, which is that he's an orphan.
Of all the lies he told, he also said he was an orphan. And that was a lie.
I first realized Eddie might be lying to me when I went home the next day and Googled Eddie Ibanz's family. I found a video of...
No way the Super Bowl winning MIT grad that's working on a crypto project is a fraud. No shot.
Eddie and his wife making rice pudding on a Fox and Friends segment on Fox News. And Eddie's wife, Jackie, explained that she learned the recipe from Eddie's mother.
So in the picture you've got Jackie...
Getting cooked this way is crazy. All right, so dude told this guy was interviewing Ed Boy. And Ed Boy was like, I'm actually an orphan. Then he goes on Fox and Friends, first mistake, and they're cooking, right? And they ask his girl where she learned the recipe. And she's like, I learned it from his mom, but I thought he was an orphan. Oh no!
Ibanez, you know.
Eddie is everything, everywhere, all at once.
Her, along with her husband Eddie and her 2 little girls. You love rice pudding.
Hey, Yana, Maze, thank you for becoming a member. I love you.
Why is this a family recipe?
Okay, so Eddie's mom made this rice pudding once.
Wait, Eddie's mom?
Wait a second, Eddie's mom?
Eddie was an orphan. Well, it turns out the only problem with that is that not only does his mom exist, she's alive and in his life. And it turns out it wasn't just Adam that heard this story either. He told it a lot.
Did you ever meet his mother or his parents?
I did meet his mother.
Did he ever tell you he was an orphan?
Yes.
How did he square that with you?
So that's why I was so confused. He told me he was an orphan and all this stuff, but then I meet his mom.
He told me he was an...
Yeah, that's what I don't get. He told me he was orphan, and then I met his mom.
Orphan, and then I met his mother, is quite the string of words. But as insane as these lies are, let's be real, it doesn't explain why Cryptozoo failed. But the next lie...
Oh yeah, this is about Cryptozoo, I forgot.
...is kind of due, because part of Eddie's story is also that he went to MIT, where he was recruited to the CIA. And it's part of why he was so attractive as a lead developer, all the wild experiences that he had had. But it's just not true.
I emailed the MIT registrar's office and I asked if Eddie Ibanz attended the school, and they confirmed in absolute terms that he never attended MIT.
Wait, why would you tell a lie that's so easy to disprove? This dude literally just asked the registrar's office at MIT, like, hey, did this dude ever go here? And they're like, nah. Why would you lie about something that can be disproved so easily?
That's right. The whole orphan to MIT origin story, it wasn't true. And Eddie's whole backstory from here kind of falls apart as well. How could he have been recruited to a...
How is Logan Paul not canceled? He has too much money and he doesn't care.
...government agency out of MIT if he never went to MIT? if this is all seeming crazy to you, you might ask yourself, who would believe all this? And this is where Eddie shines. He kind of had a gift for getting people to believe in the lies he told.
Damn, him and Logan Paul are a match made in heaven.
Especially super rich and powerful people for some reason. Like take, for instance, this story. Him winning the Super Bowl for the Philadelphia Eagles. He managed to convince the owner of the New York Yankees that it was true, Barry Klarber, who completely bought into it without question and told the same story later in a college seminar.
Let's jump right into the work you did for the Philadelphia Eagles, which led to a Super Bowl championship, led to you getting a Super Bowl ring. Yep. Tell us exactly what your job was to do for them and how.
I'm really excited to hear Eddie talk about what he did for the Philadelphia Eagles to win them the 2018 Super Bowl. Okay.
How it worked out.
No, sure thing. So first off, they said like, we don't know where to put you, but and then the sports science guy was the one guy. He's like, hey, I got some data. I'm interested. So we took it.
They said we don't know where to put you. Yeah, I'll take things that never happen.
His data, and then we found out that these players, what happens is it's like a player as they run around, they get at certain fatigue levels. So if you ever played Street Fighter, the video game, there's like a red bar at the top, and every time you get hit, that red bar goes down until you die, KO, right? So then we're trying to figure out kind of.
Dude, Madden has had fatigue levels since. For like over a decade. What is he talking about? We actually determined that NFL players, while they're playing the games, they get tired, and it's kind of like their stamina. It's at 100%, but then after they do a couple plays, after they run a couple plays, it's actually going down 90%, 80%, and that's how I won the Philadelphia Eagles the Super Bowl.
And what that is for a player, and on an injury level, right? There's an injury bar that gets knocked down and that gets KO'd.
This is insane. He could.
What does that have to do with anything?
An owner of the Yankees that he won a Super Bowl by turning sports athletes into Street Fighter characters. And of course, none of it's true. The Philadelphia Eagles responded to a fact check saying he never worked for their player analysis team.
Shocker, he lied about working for the Eagles. He was like, yeah, I showed up to the Philadelphia Eagles facility and they were like, what are you doing? We don't know what to do with you here. And I said, hey, have you ever thought about the fact that your players get tired after they play? And then they gave me a Super Bowl ring. Logan Paul hired this guy.
Not only that, the Eagles also said that Eddie did try to do an in-person presentation in March of 2018, but that was already a month after the Eagles had already won the Super Bowl. And also they didn't hire him because of course not. Meaning there's no way this story is true. And yet he's convinced people at the highest levels of sports that
Eddie wrote Nokia, probably.
It is. And this is where we get back to Cryptozoo, of course, because it's how he got involved with that project. Remember Jeff Levin, Logan's manager, who we spoke to?
Yeah, this absolute wing wong on a Wednesday.
Last time? Well, he also spoke to Adam Robb. And when he told him the reasons he liked Eddie, they sounded very familiar.
And did he tell you, I guess, kind of like about like working with the NFL and that kind of stuff and the whole, like his time in the CIA and all that?
He did. And it was interesting. It was like, this is wild, you know, like, that's pretty cool. But he's, once again...
Yeah, it is wild. And it would be pretty cool if it was true.
And he's humble, he's not like never bragging or anything like that.
Wait, but he is bragging. He literally made it all up. The CIA, NFL stories aren't true. How could that not be bragging? But that's the impression Eddie gave off. But that's not all. Because Eddie didn't just use made up stories to get in with the Cryptozoo team. He also used his other connections, his real millionaire and billionaire friends that he's managed to gain with all these fake stories. And some of them vouched for him. People like Chris Birch and Todd Morley.
And what was the thing that kind of like sold you on Eddie? Was it the fact that like Chris and Todd and people like that kind of like have backed him in the past and like?
I just think he's a down-to-earth, cool, humble guy.
Okay.
He's a down-to-earth, cool, humble guy. That's why we're paying him all this money. He said that the Eagles players get tired. He's an orphan. He cooked on Fox News. I mean, come on, give him the bag.
Who's been super successful. They're trying to do an agenda, and he's just kind of like, hey, look, I'm super smart in what I know, and I have amazing relationships through business that I've done.
It's incredible. I mean, how does this guy keep getting away with it? Honestly, it's baffling.
Did you hear that, guys? How does he keep getting away with it? He can't keep getting away with it! He can't keep getting away with it! He won't.
But I've got to say, up till now, everyone's been fooled sort of fair.
Eddie wrote the poem for TPAB? All right, no.
Fair and square on the same grounds. But I found out Cryptozoo did have an advantage that could have saved them all this trouble the whole time.
So a month before the launch of Cryptozoo, I got on the phone with Jeff Levin, Logan Paul's manager. And after
Oh God, I wonder how that went. This guy talked to Logan Paul's manager too? Oh, Jesus Lord. I just know that conversation took him over the moon.
He spoke fondly of Eddie and his work. I confronted him about some of Eddie's lies, including how he didn't work for the NFL. Jeff told me he doesn't know much about the NFL, but he knows about the business world. And Chris Birch and Todd Morley vouched for Eddie, and so Jeff and Logan were going to continue working with him.
Somebody literally warned him and said, hey, this Eddie guy that you hired, he lied about some stuff. And Logan Paul's manager was like, okay, we hear you, but also, we're going to keep working with him anyways.
Have you ever verified that anything Eddie said about himself is true?
We verified that it's true.
Yeah.
We definitely talked to people.
Okay.
And his friends and people that he said he has relationships with, which
we talked to his friends and people that he said he had relationships with. Did you ever vet any of the stuff he said? Did you ever verify any of the claims? Yeah, he referred us to people that he told those stories to, and they told us that he told them the stories. This is like me putting my friends as references on a job interview. And then when I act up at work, they're like, we can't believe this. All of his friends said he was chill. This is so fucking stupid.
we've confirmed that for sure.
Okay, because I had trouble with some of that, like, with the NFL, like, saying that, like, no, we've never worked with him, and that kind of thing. But
this is like... This is like somebody asking my editor Derek, how how I am. Editor Derek, what's it like to work with Derek? He's pretty chill. He's a nice guy. He's really good at podcast.
But you've had
the NFL saying that?
Yeah.
Like who at the NFL?
The comms teams for the Eagles and the Dolphins, and then the people specifically that he named that he said he worked with.
Got it. I don't know necessarily the football stuff.
Okay.
I don't.
Pogan Law's manager literally said, wait, he lied about the NFL stuff? Who said he lied about the NFL stuff? And they're like, we talked to the people in the NFL. And he's like, who? The people that work for the Eagles? The people that he said that he worked with? They said that he lied. Okay, well, I don't know about any of the football stuff.
I have relationships in the football world.
Sure.
But in the business world, we've definitely, talked to multiple people.
Like Todd and Chris, and they backed him.
Correct.
Wait.
Pogan Law's manager is the dumbest man on earth.
Wait a second. This means at minimum, Jeff knew about Eddie's background beforehand, or part of it, and still decided to go with it. This is just unbelievable, willful stupidity. And since Jeff is Logan's manager, I assume him and the team should have known about this as well. But still, they went forward with it even though they knew this stuff before launch. Now, I started to reach out for comments about this because obviously this is a huge deal. But when I did, I got a call from somebody new. Someone with a different perspective that I hadn't heard from before. Jake.
Oh my god, a new character unlocked.
The Crypto King. He's been involved with some of Logan's projects in the past, like Pokemon, for example. He was called the collectibles guru a few years ago. Nowadays, he goes by Crypto King, and he's an advisor for the Cryptozoo project. So let's add him to the conspiracy board. But
put him on the board, Coffee.
The question is, what did he have to say? I took a call with him, and he mostly wanted to talk off the record. But when I pressed him, he was willing to at least put one thing on the record for me.
Right. One more thing about Eddie before we get off of him. We actually...
The biggest reason it failed, in my opinion.
Okay.
Jake the Crypto King says that Ed Boy is the biggest reason that Cryptozoo failed.
Okay.
Because I don't want it to ever be thought that Logan's the reason it failed. He's not. Logan wasn't smart enough for what he tried to build.
Logan's not a scammer. He's too stupid to do this. I mean, that's certainly a take.
And then when it was built and was failing, didn't have the ability to correct it and to save face and reputation. It was more convenient to pull out than to be associated with a failing project.
It's usually more convenient to pull out. Hey, yo.
The dev rock. So I could put that one sentence on the record.
Well, that is certainly emphatic. Crypto King says it's all Eddie's fault. And this is a nice, neat theory for us.
It's a nice, neat theory.
He ruined everything.
I think Coffee's still hungry.
Because, yeah, Eddie is a liar. So it does seem to explain how these developers got screwed. But this theory doesn't fit all the facts, because Eddie was kicked off the team months ago. And still, the game is not working, despite Logan claiming they were going to go back and fix all the problems.
Again, retroactively working to make these projects right. And it just takes time, bro. It just takes time. Development.
Spoiler alert, the game never came out.
Takes time working backwards to fix things, which isn't ideal, but also this project will speak for itself.
And now, we're working.
This project will speak for itself.
Backwards to try to fix it.
This just hasn't happened. Even a year from launch, the game just doesn't exist. What's worse is the newest dev.
Years from launch, the game doesn't exist. Quick water break. Stay hydrated. When you're a seasoned yapper like myself, it's important to stay hydrated. I learned this in school. I majored in journalism, but I minored in yapology.
Team who came on after Eddie just quit. And one of the reasons was they hadn't been paid for over a month. I know this because Logan's team is leakier than the Titanic and someone told me that, but
Logan's team is leakier than the Titanic.
Also have blockchain evidence. This is Jeff paying Block Ops, the company they hired out on July 19th. They were supposed to redo all this work. It's confirmed by their leader, Skip, talking about a first monthly payment on that day.
They got somebody on the team named Skip? Like Bayless? Yeah, it's cooked.
But after that,
Logan's going to come after the Pikachu on your desk? Probably.
There's nothing.
He's going to turn it into an NFC.
Till they quit on September 26th in a post called Our Departure from Cryptozoo. Now, I do have to say, it does look like they were eventually paid, but only a day after they quit. And this is...
People don't get paid until they quit over there. That's wild.
Just the same problem as before, slightly different. Nobody can pay these devs on time, and investors end up getting nothing. And so I can't buy into the idea that Eddie's at fault for everything, because when Eddie was gone, they had a lot of the same problems. Now, it was only at the point that this dev team quit, Block Ops, that things really took a turn. Because if the Titanic was leaking before, now it was sinking, and everyone basically gave up hope, from every direction.
I mean, they should have. Nobody's getting anything. Everybody's wanting money and nobody's getting paid. They only get paid when they quit, so why wouldn't they? There's too many cooks in the kitchen, and nobody knows how to cook.
And I started getting messages from all the investors who felt betrayed, who up to this point were holding on to hope. Now they felt defeated. They felt tricked by the Cryptozoo team who had fed them promise after promise, and they were sick of it.
He was never in the chat or anything, never apologized or told us anything.
Things didn't work out. Things didn't work out. We all get that. But to continuously lie, lead people on, hype people up, to put more money in, all the while in the background, things are going down, things are hitting the fan, and you've left us holding the bag.
I know it was my decision, and I did my research, but...
Did you do your research, though? Did you actually?
I believe nobody has to lose money in this way.
And that's when a whistleblower stepped forward and decided enough was enough. They decided to leak me messages, team messages, from the Cryptozoo team, from all the way back in the beginning when they thought of this idea.
Leak messages. Derpcoin win, I'll die first.
All the way up to launch. And seeing that, it changed everything. Because all of a sudden, I got a lot of...
Changed everything.
New information. Remember how Jake, the Crypto King, said Eddie was the only problem? Well, a year ago, he was saying something very different. On the day of launch, he said this to the group. Logan, you stole 40 million in tokens from me. You...
$40 mil? Foudy?
You are a scam artist. You are a liar, and you betrayed your own community. You aren't that guy. Logan replies, oh, Jake, trust me, bro. I am that guy.
I'm that white guy. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. It's heating up. It's heating up. Ending Logan Paul's biggest scam. It's part 3. Are we locked in? Are we locked in? Are we locked in? 40 million in tokens is 40 million Monopoly money? Probably. If someone took 40 million from me, they would never find the body, I think. Like the video. Yo, if you haven't liked the video already, what are you doing? We are on part 3 of investigating Cryptozoo. Shout out Coffeezilla. Shout out Pogan Law for being a scammer. In my personal opinion, do not sue me. I'm just a guy watching a YouTube video with the derps. Lock in part 3, title, Ending Logan Paul's Biggest Scam. Here we go. Cryptozoo, part 3, Coffeezilla. It's Derapy.
For the last 6 months, I've been working on my own NFT.
Hold on. Volume check. Time and a quarter. Cook.
Project. We've put hundreds of thousands of dollars in it. Personally, the whole team, $1 million.
Cap.
Plus.
We had an issue with Cryptozoo, where our lead developer took the code that he made, fled to Switzerland, actually fled to Switzerland, and held it hostage.
He fled to Switzerland. Actually fled to Switzerland.
For $1 million.
He never paid me anything. at all, ever. Eddie promised me, 5% of tokens.
Fled to Switzerland is crazy, by the way, because like the idea that he went to Switzerland so he wouldn't have to pay Logan is wild. Like, what is Pogan Law and Mike Malik, Dwarf Mamba, George, the little George guy, manager Jeff? What are these people gonna do if you just stay in the country you're in? Like, are they gonna come find you? Is Logan Paul gonna like come fucking like hit you with a steel chair or something? Why flee to Switzerland?
And $1 million. He never paid me.
This reporter says Eddie's entire story is fake.
The biggest reason to foul, in my opinion.
Look, I'm not the bad guy here.
Yeah.
There's some
Mike Milkshake?
actual out there.
Yeah.
And it's not me. Like, I'm here to build.
Here we go. The highly anticipated finale.
Welcome to part 3. So far, we've discovered fake orphans, millions of dollars stolen, and a cast of sleazy characters, but now it's time to put it all together. What is the truth? And who's to blame? We're going to start by going through leaked text messages of the Cryptozoo
Pack them up
team to understand all of their motivation. Then we'll go to blockchain evidence and show who sold what. And finally, we'll confront some of the people responsible. But before we can do any of that, we have to start in March of 2021, 6 months before the token even launched.
March of 2021, 6 months before the token even launched.
Our 4 suspects, Logan, Crypto King, Eddie, and Jeff, are in a group chat discussing Cryptozoo, which started Crypto King, Eddie, and Jeff are in a group.
Hold on.
Can even launched. Our 4 suspects.
We got Pogan Law, Japanese superstar. We got manager Jeff, Mr. No Comment. We've got Head Boy, MVP of the 2018 Super Bowl. And we've got Jake, the Crypto King. Lex Luthor had a...
Logan, Crypto King, Eddie, and Jeff are in a group chat discussing Cryptozoo.
They're all locked in a group chat months before the launch, talking dollars.
Starts as a copy of something else. Quote, I like imitating crypto kitties, Jake the Crypto King says. Logan replies, I agree.
I love how the conversation starts with, hey, let's rip off something else.
And initially, it wasn't called Cryptozoo at all. It was called Crypto Pets, and they were gonna sell a Pets token. And pretty early on, it became clear this was all about money, how they were gonna sell this thing to...
No. This was all about money? I thought they were really passionate about this. That's why they got all that handmade art.
Investors. In fact, Crypto King said he thought it was worth at least $20 million in only 6 months, saying the range is insane. $20 to $210 million. It's beautiful wherever we land. Eddie jumped in at this point and talked about how he could sell the project as an investment to a friend, Matt Higgins, saying, quote, he has to spend that $350 million somewhere. Why not us? And Logan says, I love that idea. Crypto King, I'm in. And of course, you have Jeff saying, let's go. So you can see right there, they wanted to sell this game before it had even launched. Now later, Eddie amends the list of investors and says, quote, investors will be Gary V, Todd Morley.
Oh, it's just a real all-star team here. We got Gary V, Ryan Kavanaugh, mortal enemy of the H3 podcast, if I remember, and then a whole bunch of other nerds.
James Altucher, Ryan Kavanaugh, and others confirmed on my end. Supposedly, they had $100 million of investment interest. Now, I actually went to some of these investors and asked if this was true, and the one person who responded denied it, Ryan Kavanaugh. Quote, nope, not even a little bit.
Hi, Ryan. Is it true that you were involved in investing in Cryptozoo per Eddie Ibanz? Trying to fact check a story. Nope, not even a little bit. Ain't even heard of it.
So this looks like it could be yet another lie from Eddie Ibanz, but either way, it looks like there was more issues than just finding an...
Eddie truly is a compulsive liar.
Investors, because the team wanted to pre-sell tokens, and not everyone was sure it would be legal. Jake the Crypto King mentions that, quote, if we have a pre-sale, it opens us up to SEC issues. And Jeff agrees and says, don't want to do anything that brings the SEC eyeballs.
Really?
Now, not everyone wanted to be so cautious, though. Logan argues everyone does pre-sale with coins. Eddie agrees. He says, you absolutely can do it. I have the SEC down, private and pre-sale. And honestly, it was quite the dilemma for this team who wanted money. You know, do a pre-sale, make millions, but, you know, you have these potential legal issues. Don't do it, you make less money. So Crypto King comes up with a middle solution.
Pre-sale is so crazy.
And he says, if we can't sell, no pre-sale. We can still trade them in the liquidity pool. And this is the start of a new disaster, which takes a bit of explaining. Now, just so we're clear, a pre-sale is where you sell investors coins, usually at a discount, before you've launched. And then when you launch, you give them those coins. Now, like I said, the team didn't want to do that. So
Why would they have a lot of their illegal activities? I don't know, man. Fucking crypto scam. That's a lifelong battle with yourself.
What they did instead was they bought the tokens on the open market right after launch. But they tried to get clever with it because they didn't actually announce that they were launching this coin at all. They stealth launched it on June 11th and didn't announce this token through Logan until August 18th.
What? That's wild. Wait, so they did like a stealth launch, so tokens were available for only people that knew about it, and then they did the actual announcement months later? Allegedly, according to these leaked messages? Hello.
Meaning they had all that time to silently buy up as much of the supply at a steep discount as they wanted. And the idea here was that doing this, the team could get these tokens extremely cheaply, which is kind of like a pre-sale, but without all the SEC troubles. And Crypto King makes this clear on June 7th when he says, quote, launch of the liquidity pool is where huge money will be made because you get in cheaper. And then says, we, the team, begin buying out the liquidity pool. Once the team has exhausted funds for the liquidity pool buying, we send the contract address to friends, family, investors.
Okay, just off rip, this is absolutely insane. We lock in tokens, we lock team tokens to be distributed over months to the founders that have token allocations. Why are the people in the project buying tokens? At all. Y'all are not playing this low ass game where they mash the animals together. So the fact that, and check this out. Once the team has exhausted funds for the liquidity pool buying, we send the contract address to friends, family, and investors before the public? Y'all are hoes.
Who want to be able to get in. So obviously the plan is we buy first, then we give it to our close friends and family, and then maybe the public eventually, right? And even the day before, Crypto King reminds everyone, quote, Zoo Day is tomorrow. I highly recommend everyone get a few $100 to a few $1,000s in Zoo when it goes live. It will.
I don't know anything about crypto, but I know enough via like deductive reasoning and context clues to recognize that this is clearly a scam.
Likely 10 to 1,000x. So that was their plan. Rather than doing a pre-sale, they were going to do this stealth launch and hopefully get tokens cheaply the same way, but without all the legal troubles. Or at least that was the plan. Because on stealth launch day, this is where things first started to go wrong for the team. At first, everything...
I just realized I'm hunching. Stop hunching. Stop hunching.
Seemed to go normal. The team sat in a circle and literally bought it out as planned. But the next day, Crypto King says something odd. Quote, a bot is playing with our token. Kind of cool to watch them work. But he doesn't mention who this bot is. And
who's the bot? Are they K-bots?
He also says the asshole finished selling, but doesn't mention who that is. Now, Jeff, Logan's manager, replies upset. He says, how do we prevent someone doing what they just did again? We went from a $130 million to $26 million market cap in 2 hours. It's not cool to watch. Logan jumps in. Yeah, wait, how did that happen? And he also says, what asshole? How did anyone get this token except for us? And
there's a scammer among us. Like the video.
None of us sold. And I think actually this is incredibly suspicious because the implication of what Logan's saying is, hey, we tried to scheme this really well. We tried to all buy this without letting anyone know. How did anyone else figure out we were buying it? Right?
Why does the public have access to this thing that we were only supposed to keep between us?
Right. And this is where a fight ensues. That's going to become really interesting.
By interesting, he means very fun.
Crypto King deflects the question by saying, my buyer pushed it back up to $40 million. And Logan says, no, bro, F your buyer. Explain to me what just happened and how there were 30 token holders. And Jake tries to explain that this was just traders and bots happening to find the token. But Logan says only 5 of us knew about it.
Only 5 of us knew about it. Bro, this shit feels like Clue. What kind of Scooby-Doo shit is this? Only 5 of us knew about it. Who here leaked that the token launched secretly? Ooh, the scam was only supposed to be between us.
Jake says, well, many people chase volume and new tokens. And to some extent, he's kind of right. But Logan replies, cap. He doesn't believe it. Quote, I can't be the only one who thinks that's too incredible.
Is this new? No, this is the old Cryptozoo stuff. This is the original story.
Convenient. Like someone was tipped off. And
somebody was tipped off.
Juicy. And look, no one's more critical of Logan than me. But as I'm reading these texts, I was kind of like agreeing. Like, yeah, it does seem too nonchalant when somebody's ruining your secret plot. You know what I mean? Because Crypto King was acting very strange. He says, we created $40 million out of thin air. This is a success.
We created $40 million out of thin air. This is a success. See, this is why I hate crypto. How are y'all making money out of nothing? How is all this money moving back and forth over something that doesn't even exist yet? And for the record, spoiler alert, would never exist. So like, How is this money going back and forth in and out of wallets from people to people? Like this is wild. We created $40 million out of thin air today. This shit is disgusting, dog.
Logan replies, this nonchalance worries me. F 40 million, it was at 120 million, which again, it's all about the money with these guys. But truth
imagine being like, man, fuck that $40 million. I wanted 120 million. What happened to my... Where's all my fake money? Somebody explain to me where all my fake money went.
Be told, I did agree that Crypto King's attitude seemed strange in these texts. I mean, he's not wrong that bots are a thing, traders are a thing, but it sounded like he didn't want anyone to look into it. So, naturally, I looked into it. And what I found surprised me, because there were bots, but there's also unusual human activity during this time. So I tracked the 5 biggest buyers.
Unusual human activity? That's just a normal day in the Paul family.
Of this zoo coin. And lo and behold, this is what I found. Logan was one of the biggest buyers, which is what you'd expect. But he wasn't the biggest. In fact, 2 of the biggest wallets seem to be associated with Crypto King himself. And here's where I paused. I said, wait a second. Why did this guy buy more zoo tokens than Logan when this is mostly Logan's project? I thought Crypto King was a small part of this team. And so, to get more info on this, I actually got access to an internal meeting note from the day of June 11th, which they called Zoo Day. And
bro, I don't know how Coffeezilla got all this information. He's hiding under beds, he's hiding in closets, he's sneaking in the back door.
In it, we find actually some interesting information. We see that 5 founders bought in. They apparently were, quote, trading in circles until each person maxed out.
Internal meeting notes for the day of launch league. 5 founders bought in, trading in circles until each person maxed out. Like, how is this not illegal? I don't understand.
But on the list of buyers and how much they spent are only 4 people, when we know 5 people bought. We have Danny, Logan's assistant, for 20K, Logan Paul for 100K, Jeff at 100K, and Eddie at 100K, but Crypto King is nowhere to be found. And yet, on the blockchain, I have him putting in $200,000 worth. And this number, by the way, seemingly is confirmed in a conversation I had with Crypto King, where he said, my 200K investment. And the reason this is important is because it does imply that something shady was going on the day of the stealth launch. Because Crypto King had a relatively small role in this whole project. He was the advisor, but it wasn't that big of a deal. Like you can see from the internal meeting notes, they have a breakdown of who's getting what.
Yeah, bro's like a consultant. Like he didn't create anything. He's in there like with ideas and shit. He's out here brainstorming. It's crazy how, hold on, let me move myself. Internal Cryptozoo meeting notes that leaked, right? These are the team splits. And I'm sitting here like, okay, Jeff getting 10% makes sense because he's the manager. Eddie, you know, he's the dude asking for investors. Danny, who is Logan Paul's assistant at the time, is getting 1%. What the fuck does she have to do with the crypto?
In terms of founder tokens, and like Logan Paul's getting 51%, Eddie's getting 30%, Jeff's getting 10%, Jake's only getting 5% of tokens, but he has the most of these like stealth launch tokens, which makes no sense. And it got me thinking that maybe what explains this suspicious behavior around like, oh, don't worry about who was buying at the time of the launch. Maybe that's explained because perhaps no one knew that he was buying up large parts of the token supply. Maybe he was buying it to sell later. Now, of course, that's speculation. So that's why I confronted Crypto King on all of this.
Coffee's out here doing his homework for real. He's like, this is what I think. This is my theory. And then I asked him.
But before we get to that call, let's address the elephant in the room. Logan didn't accuse Crypto King of being a scam. It was the other way around. Crypto King told Logan Paul he was a scammer. And the question is, why? Well, to answer that, we have to...
Why would you call Logan Paul a scammer? Who would do such a thing?
To go from June, the stealth launch...
He says in a video called Ending Logan Paul's Biggest Scam.
...date to September 1st, the official launch date of Cryptozoo.
September 1st, cryptozoo.co.
Now, the day of the launch was a bit strange because you might think, well, they already have a token, right? But the first thing they did was actually create a new zoo token with a different code, but the same name.
Oh, Jesus, dude, what?
And they actually airdropped all the holders of the first zoo token with an identical amount of those coins on the second zoo token. So you might be wondering, why did they do that? Well, maybe it's to change the smart contract, but maybe it's because of what they did do. They blacklisted some of the holders. In other words, they didn't airdrop to everyone, including Jake the Crypto King. They excluded his wallets so it couldn't get these zoo coins. Jake texted the group about this the next day, saying, quote, the zoo team made a major error this weekend.
I don't think it was an error. They tried to ice out one of the homies. That's crazy.
They chose not to communicate, mint a new token, and airdrop it to whatever wallets they determined fit. This decision came from Eddie and Logan, and I had no part in it. 11,250 wallets before the airdrop, under 11,000 after. They chose to blacklist and ban over 200 wallets. Now, who those wallets are, I have no idea. But he continues, quote, as a founder like Logan, Jeff, Eddie, and Danny, I had purchased a large quantity of tokens. 5+ of my wallets had been blacklisted from the original.
Why do you have 5 wallets though?
Team's buys. Now, I don't know why he had 5+.
I don't know anything about crypto, but having 5 wallets and being like, you guys banned my 5 wallets. It's like, maybe it's because you have 5 wallets. I don't know.
Wallets there, but okay. He says 80+ billion Zoo tokens were confiscated from me today without any communication.
What does this shit even mean, dog? What happened to my 80 billion Zoo tokens? Like, what are we even yapping about anymore? Morning, Derps. Hello. Welcome. Good to see you, Amy.
So, wow. That's why Crypto King accused Logan of stealing from him or scamming. It's because he was frozen out of a lot of his wallets. And then we get to the text you guys all know. He says, Logan, you stole $40 million. You're a scammer. You're a con artist, all that stuff. You betrayed your community. The reality is you aren't that guy.
Yada, yabba dabba doo. Logan's a scammer.
Logan response. Oh, Jake, trust me, bro. I am that guy.
I don't know if I have ever unironically told somebody that I am that guy.
Q, in the arms of an angel. And look, I mean, what do we make of this? Well, I don't know. I can't root for either of these guys because it sounds like Logan stabbed him in the back, but it sounds like Crypto King may have stabbed him in the back in the first place, right? Because it does
not scammers to get scammed. Scammers scamming scammers. A scammer got scammed and another scammer scammed him, and now they've both been scammed. They're scammers. They're scammers that are scamming each other. They're scamming each other and then they're scamming the fans.
Appear like he bought tokens that maybe everyone didn't know about. So I'm really not a fan of anyone in this situation. And by the way, this whole thing was structured so misleadingly from the beginning. I have to talk to you a bit about it because you might think that these tokens were the only tokens they had, but it's not even true. In the distribution section of Zoo's white paper, they say there's 2 trillion tokens and a quarter of that are allocated to development, marketing, and founders. Those aren't even the tokens we're talking about right now because they claim that those tokens were locked up for 6 months. And then afterwards, 10% was
so they claim
unlocked every month. And if that's true, there would be no reason for these funds to be blacklisted, right? Why would you blacklist something that would be locked up? And the answer is because, well, the founders had more than one set of tokens. Not only did they supposedly have these founder tokens that were locked up and couldn't be sold, these stealth launch tokens were different from that. It's like a whole different thing. And the tokens that they bought.
How many different sets of tokens are there? Jesus Lord. They got pre-sale tokens. They got tokens for the stealth launch. They got a token that is split in half, and there's a version 1 and a version 2. Damn.
That all of these guys bought. They could sell it basically any time because they weren't locked up, which is a massive problem. And this fact was explicitly laid out in their meeting notes with only one rule. They say, quote, no selling until $200 million market cap and don't impact the market more than 3%.
I love how, like, the fact that there are rules for selling means that, like, they all intend to sell for profit almost instantly.
And not impact the market more than 10% in a day. And by the way, like, this is basically conspiracy to manipulate a market, you know?
It's like very clearly insider trading. I don't even really know that much about like stocks and trading and whatever, but it's like them literally setting rules for like how much they can trade at a time, therefore to not impact the market too much at a time. Don't impact the market more than 10% a day. So realistically, you could sell as much as you want if it only leads to impacting the market 9% at a time. Like, huh? You all have to know that the people that aren't in on these rules and these like, this shit is wild, dog. Te amo, Derapy. Love you, Mina.
Literally have an insider rules for how to sell, but we're gonna look past that, right? Because these rules eventually kind of changed. A text from Logan's manager, Jeff Levin, came to the group chat, Zoo founders, saying, guys, new and absolute rules. No one is to sell or transfer any Zoo.
Guys, new rules and absolute rules. No one is to sell or transfer any Zoo. Logan's going to make the call when we can make moves.
Logan's going to make the call when we can make moves. And Logan replies, your tokens do not leave your wallet. This is a game. Now, that all sounds well.
This is a game is a kind of funny way to say that we're scamming. in my opinion. When he says this is a game, I don't think he's referring to the Cryptozoo game. I don't see them talking anything about like how fun the game is going to be for the fans or how Logan can't wait to release this to the community. Like, we've been doing all this behind the scenes talk, and notice how nobody is talking about the actual quality of the product they're supposed to be selling. Everybody's just going back and forth about fucking tokens. It's so obvious that they do not care about this product when it comes to the actual people that are supposed to be consuming it. I thought it was supposed to be a fun game that made you money. We're not even talking about the art anymore. We're not talking about the development of the game. They're literally just arguing back and forth about pre-sale tokens. This shit is so slimy, dude. It's so weird.
And good, don't sell your tokens, don't sell your tokens. But the reality was, I mean, they're just kind of trusting each other because these tokens that they're talking about, they're unlocked. They're not locked up. And they could sell it at any time. And I guess the question on my mind is that why Crypto King's tokens were blacklisted? Because they thought he would sell? Or maybe it's just the fact they found out he bought and they didn't know about all those tokens. It's honestly hard to say without knowing more evidence. And this is where we're going to jump into the blockchain. Now, I've tracked the wallets of the
Oh God, we're gonna get into the blockchain.
Entire team and identified the largest seller of Zoo in the team. And it wasn't Jeff. It wasn't Danny. It wasn't even Logan. It was Crypto King. Crypto King sold, by my calculations, millions of dollars.
Oh, shock. Shock and awe. Crypto King did the most crypto selling.
And I know what you're thinking. How's that possible, right? I thought his tokens were blacklisted the day of the official launch. How could he sell that much? Well, the answer is that not all of his tokens were blacklisted. He had even more tokens behind the scenes. And what's worse, the Cryptozoo team actually gave him back a lot of his blacklisted tokens, which I guess you can see as a good thing or a bad thing because he then turned around and sold those tokens, right? And from my blockchain analysis across his blacklisted tokens he got back and the tokens that he had squirreled away the whole time, he ended up making $6 million.
How? How? How do you make $6 million off of a crypto project that never actually works? The game, to this day, doesn't work. It never fully worked. And this man pocketed 6 M's. Now, obviously, it's bad that it seems like this guy was scamming people. But I do think it's funny that he scammed Logan Paul.
He did this by sending out tokens from these larger wallets to dozens of smaller wallets, selling it, and then sending the money to final cash out wallets. So he used those final wallets to calculate the amount he made.
The fact that these rules exist prove that everyone knew it had the potential to be a scam. Yeah.
Now, I know, look, it's a lot to accuse someone of selling $6 million in a project that doesn't even work. It's a giant scam. So I wanted to give him a chance to defend himself. So I got on a call with Crypto King.
I'm not gonna hold you. If I cash out with 6 M's, I'm gonna tell you straight up, yeah, I cashed out early. Shit. We was all in it. We were all trading back and forth. They wanted to set up all these rules or whatever. Shit, that ain't my audience. I don't fuck with Logan like that. We talking 6 M's. I tell Coffee, I'm sorry, dog. I'm sorry. It was 6 M's. What do you want me to do?
And here's what he said when I finally revealed that I knew he had sold.
I'm gonna change the whole story. Yeah, I'll go on the record for you, and yes, I'm gonna show you the text message that said we can sell at these ascending market caps, and literally, I'm 100%. It sounds like your biggest issue with me is that I sold, and if that's your biggest issue with me, that's the truth.
Wow, that is.
At these ascending.
Hold on. I don't know crap about this, but I am listening to you and Coffeezilla yapping while I work. Hope you're doing good. I am doing good, and I hope you have a good day at work.
Market caps, and literally, I'm 100%. It sounds like your biggest issue with me is that I sold.
It sounds like your biggest issue with me is that I sold. Yeah, that's the whole reason we're talking.
And if that's your biggest issue with me, that's the truth.
Wow.
If that's your biggest issue with me, that's the truth. He's like, I'm not gonna hold you, dog. If you mad at me for selling, I mean, look at this bed of money I'm laying in. Have you seen my bathtub lately? It's full with dollar bills. It's filled with dollar bills. What do you want me to do? Coffee, with all due respect, it is 6 M's.
Wow, that is a big admission. Selling tokens for a project that you're an advisor on when the project has never been delivered. Although Crypto King insists that it wasn't $6 million and he wasn't trying to rug a project. In fact, really, he might be the one who got screwed over in all of that.
Oh, it wasn't actually $6 million and he actually got screwed over. Okay. All right, Lex Luthor.
Like, I did sell, I didn't sell $6 million worth. That's going to be other wallets, but that's probably not going to be able to be me being able to be proven, except for them saying, can you send B&B all these different wallets for me? Which that I'll be able to show you that I was giving B&B to the whole team. I'll also be able to show you that I was a 5% holder of the Zoo tokens that I was promised to be given over the 3-month period, was never given. I can also show you that I was frozen out and was never given the 15 billion tokens back that I paid for in cash.
I paid for 15 billion tokens. Where are my 15 billion tokens?
Okay.
So you can show you all of those things on the record, and then you can also say that I did sell, which is also true.
Yep.
As long as it's accompanied with, he was a founder that was supposed to be given 5% of the project and was never given a token or paid, worked for almost a year on the project. As long as that goes in with it, then at least that tells my side of the story, so people
Okay, but how much did you get for selling though?
understand that it's not like I was trying to run a project. It's like I put $250,000 into a project plus 6 months of time, and the founder never did anything he said he was going to do, and then hired a bunch of devs that didn't do what they were going to do. And every time I gave advice, the advice was I was told to fuck off. So it can be that story, or it can be he sold all this amount and he got in early. Well, yeah, that's like 1% of it though.
Incredible. He sounds like he
Okay.
views himself as the victim, or at least like he got
There's no way everybody's the victim.
screwed too, which just has to win the gold medal for me.
Because Logan's gonna say that he didn't do anything. He never sold. This guy saying he did sell, but he got screwed over. Manager Jeff still says no comment. Danny, Logan's assistant, is getting 1% of this for some reason. I don't know what the fuck she did.
For mental gymnastics, because I mean, he literally had put $200,000 into this, and he says he made millions of dollars. Even if you take him at his word that he didn't make the full $6 million, he admits to me later that it might be a pretty close guess. He tells me via text, quote, "I don't care if you tell people I sold a few million and leave it at that."
I don't care if you tell people I sold a few million and leave it at that. So let's just get this straight, just to be all the way clear here. Let's say that he didn't make 6 million, but he just made a few million. He says it right here in this message, according to Coffeezilla. He put $250,000 in, and he sold for a few million. Just to be clear, this man profited multiple M's. I'm not gonna crash out. Multiple millions for a project that never even worked. A game, a project, a Logan Paul endeavor. This man, who nobody knows, but was just working behind the scenes as an advisor, cashed out with at minimum $2 million. And I just think that shit is whack. I just think that's crazy.
Well, okay, $6 million, a few million dollars, it's millions of dollars, right? Millions of dollars when you only put in $200,000 into a project that's never been delivered, doesn't work, scammed people out of their money. How is he saying he's the one who's in the wrong? Well, in his view, what he did was not wrong. It might have been arguably unethical, but it wasn't illegal. And what Logan did, well, that was illegal.
You can say the timing was bad and it was inappropriate to sell, but the reality is I bought tokens open market and sold them open market. So
you can say the timing was bad. You can say it was inappropriate to sell. I love how he says,
was bad and it was inappropriate to sell, but the reality is I bought tokens open market and sold them open market.
I bought tokens open market and sold them open market, but you were one of the founders of the project. You knew about it before anybody else, and you made millions. So
there's nothing illegal about that. Ethically, arguable. The rest that Logan did to me,
ethically arguable? No, it is not.
was ethically wrong and illegal.
Now, what do I think of all this finger pointing? Well, I think it's pretty wild to try to make yourself look like the lesser of two evils when you made millions of dollars and investors lost millions. I just do. Now, the same.
Okay, yes, I did make millions of dollars, but Logan,
time, I want to be fair to Crypto King. He's not the only one who sold here. But I also have to say, not everyone from the founders did sell. For example, Jeff, Logan's manager, to my knowledge, never sold. Neither did Logan Paul, which was a huge...
Logan Paul never sold. Imagine running a project that turns out to be a scam. I would almost have more respect for Logan if he actually sold. Like, you just let people scam you. And then also let your fans get scammed. And you didn't even make any money? That's actually so stupid.
Huge surprise. All their wallets that I tracked, held onto their tokens, which is good, and to their credit for a game that doesn't work. But you know who did sell? Eddie Ibanz. The guy who did
Of course Ed Boy sold.
Pay the initial devs, the supposed MIT orphan? Yeah, from what I can see, his initial wallet got a ton of Zoo, sent it to a bunch of smaller wallets, and then sold off, kind of like Crypto King. And for my calculations, he made about $1.7 million. Now, I have to tell you that like Jake, I tried to confront him and give him the opportunity to defend himself, but he never replied to my emails.
Well, obviously, all he would do is lie. He won the Eagles Super Bowl.
Or my phone calls, and we're just gonna have to leave it there. But we're not done with the money just yet, because we still need to talk about the eggs. Remember, we talked about how they profited from...
Oh yeah, the eggs.
Zoocoin, but they also made millions from eggs. According to their own internal meeting notes, they plan to make about $3 million selling these eggs for 0.1 ETH apiece. And that's not far from what I calculated they actually did make, which was about $2.5 million. In the meeting notes, they say they're gonna clear expenses and then do payouts. But payout who? They don't say. And these expenses are referencing an earlier note suggesting Eddie and Logan had both spent $300,000 each, which I'll say is not $1 million, but okay. We'll
For the record, $300,000 each is not $1 million, but whatever, you know, everybody's lying.
Give it to them, right? So they got paid back their $600,000, but where does the rest of the money go? Well, on the Ethereum side, there's one payout for $364,000 to one wallet and another $1 million to another. Both are Coinbase addresses, so we don't know who exactly that is, but clearly someone on the team made a lot of money from these.
So again, $1 million missing.
NFT egg sales that do not work. And on the Binance Smart Chain side, where they also made money selling eggs, the zoo that was spent was supposed to be set aside for 50% to be burned, which they did, but the other 50% was supposed to be allocated for wildlife charities and Cryptozoo development.
Money for the dogs. But in this case, it's 50% allocated for wildlife charities and Cryptozoo development. Yeah, that's some vague ass shit. Let's be real.
Now, neither seems to have happened because all the money is in a wallet that the team still controls. So there are open questions about, where that money is going to go and where the Ethereum money went. Did it go to Jake? Did it go to Logan? Did it go to...
These people pretending like they're going to give any of this money to charity is insane.
Jeff? Did it go to Eddie? We don't know. But what I know for sure is that no one was innocent, although there's certainly shades of guilt you can argue about because, of course, not everyone did sell. You could look at that as the most important thing. Logan Paul didn't sell. Jeff, Logan's manager, didn't sell. But does that make them innocent? Well, I don't think so, because they never...
You hired a bunch of con artists.
...built a game they promised people. Logan Paul specifically got millions of dollars spent on this game on the promise of the technology that he never built, that his team never built. And he never addressed the failure except to blame his developers, who...
It's so crazy how... I just cannot stress enough how wild it is that all of these people made all of this money and they still could never make the game. Like, even if it's completely trash, even if people are dissatisfied with the product, to just never make it is absurd.
Weren't paid. And you could say he promised to work backwards to fix it, but then never did. But at the same time, it's clearly not just Logan's fault either, because there are major team issues, right? You've got Eddie selling millions of dollars of Zoo and then allegedly not paying developers. You've got Jeff, who was warned about Eddie, who kept him on the team anyways. And
Wait. Wasn't Jake the Pokemon expert who scammed them folks? Correct.
Then, after they fired Eddie, seems to also have failed to pay
allegedly
developers on time. And then you've got Crypto King himself, who sold the most, but claims he was the guy who was scammed, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It's just like Avengers Assemble for the worst possible team you can imagine to build.
Avengers Assemble for the worst possible team you can imagine is a great way to describe this.
A crypto gang. And so, unsurprisingly, it turns out a lot of these guys backstabbed each other. And so, finding a way to wrap this up was difficult because it's hard to assign exact proportions of blame. Because if you focus on any one person, you kind of miss why this project failed.
It is Logan Paul's project. He said that he was making it. He promoted it on Impulsive. And then he did not let his people know when it was failing.
Cryptozoo, at the end of the day, did not fail because the price went too low. Cryptozoo failed because they never built a functioning game that they promised. Really, the number one problem, even bigger than people selling millions of dollars of tokens, was that they never paid the developers on time. As boring as that is. And as a result, the investors not only got rugged for millions of dollars, which is a problem, but they just didn't get the core thing they had bought from the beginning, which was not a crypto project, but something different.
I'm excited to launch my game.
You keep using a...
Didn't happen.
And you just did it again. You keep using a word there. Game. You're not using like a project. It's a game.
It's a game. It's a really fun game that makes you money.
Me when I lie. Why is he laughing about it like he's played the game before? It didn't even exist at this point. He's like, it's a really fun game. Watch this. I feel like this is really important. Like, I'm not a body language expert, but like, listen to him and look at him when he says this. It's a really, it's a fun game.
And you just did it again. You keep using a word there. Game. You're not using like a project.
Watch Logan Paul's face right here.
It's a game.
It's a game. It's a really fun game that makes you money.
This nigga know he lying, bro. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, bro. This is ridiculous. Like, anybody, imagine listening to this.
You just did it again. You keep using a word there. Game. You're not using like a project. It's a game.
It's a game. It's a really fun game that makes you money.
It's a really fun game. Imagine me, the Derapy guy. Imagine me looking into the camera and doing this. Oh yeah, it's a it's a really fun game that makes you money. And then you putting $50,000 into that. That is so fucking silly, dude. I want whoever put money into this to watch this clip back. I'm gonna run it one more time because it's so obvious that he knows that this shit is not gonna work.
And you just did it again. You keep using a word there. Game. You're not using like a project. It's a game.
It's a game. It's a really fun game that makes you money.
It's a really fun game that makes... Buddy is choking on a lie.
That's it. That to me is the biggest scam in all of this. Yes, it's a huge problem. People stole millions of dollars, but it's a symptom of the larger issue, which is people didn't actually care about the game or this, whatever you want to call it. They just cared about the money. And this is ultimately what happens when you have an influencer LARPing as a businessman. It's what happens when
influencer LARPing as a businessman.
You have a liar LARPing as a developer. And it's what happens when you have a shady crypto guru LARPing as a crypto king. You end up with a mess. And in my personal opinion, a fraud as well. And now that this thing blew up in their faces, these four seem to be dodging accountability faster than SBF dodges calls with me. Because I have reached out to everyone involved. I've tried to get all of their statements on things. So far, no one has taken accountability or offered to refund the victims at all. They're all hiding, pretending these victims don't even exist. But they do exist. And throughout my investigations, they've been the heartbeat of this whole thing. So I decided to close this investigations in a bit of a unique way. Rather than me deciding who's to blame or me deciding what you should think, I want to give them the last word.
Everyone's to blame. Logan, in the sense of his poor management.
I'm not gonna lie, man, oh man, do I appreciate Coffeezilla and all the hard work that he does. I'm not gonna watch all these people's testimonies about who they think is wrong. You can decide for yourself, and also it's Logan Paul's project. Here's the next part of the series. This is, so Logan Paul came out after all of this and basically was like, Coffeezilla, you lied. You're a fraud. And I'm gonna sue you. That's what Logan Paul's response to this was. It wasn't about like, oh, I made a mistake, or oh, I apologize, or oh, I hired con artists. Logan Paul came out and basically was like, Coffeezilla, I used to like you, but then you investigated me specifically, and now I hate you. Now, we're not going to watch that video because I don't want to listen to Logan Paul talk any more than I have to. But this is Coffeezilla.
Well, it's fine.
Coffeezilla's response, because Logan Paul came out and tried to bully Coffeezilla and say, I'm going to sue you. Your story sucks and I'm not a scammer. Then the internet was like, Logan, did we watch the same series? Obviously, it's all your fault. Then Logan Paul had to come out and make an apology for saying that Coffeezilla is a bad journalist and he was going to sue him when he should have been focused on his own audience. So the next part of our series here is called Logan Paul Apologized to Me by Coffeezilla. Logan really said, your ass is in extreme danger. Shout out my people on Twitch. We're live on Twitch at Derapy Pod. Oh, what is this up in the top? Don't Google what did Logan Paul do in Japan. What did Logan Paul do in Japan? Logan Paul apologized to me. Here we go. This is part 4 of this Cryptozoo saga. Logan Paul apologized to me. Here we go.
Well, it's finally over. Logan Paul apologized.
Coffeezilla, your slang is. He is a lopsided journalist with an agenda, more like an internet criminal.
Oops, wrong video. That was the first response. He actually
Coffeezilla's so petty, dog.
Apologized in another response.
It's like a little gnat. It's like a little annoying gnat. The defamation lawsuit. That is happening because this is wrong. This is wrong.
Hold on, wait a second. That's not it either.
Logan Paul made 2 separate videos talking about how much he hates Coffeezilla and how he's gonna sue him for defamation. Just for him to come back and apologize. What a fucking dork, dude.
Turns out it's actually on his secondary channel. That's why I couldn't find it. It's entitled Thank You Coffeezilla. It's the third response from Logan Paul, and it's a pretty big...
It's his third response. The first response was, everything you say is a lie. I'm gonna sue you. The second response was, ooh, Coffeezilla, he's this little annoying gnat. And the defamation lawsuit is real and I'm gonna see his ass in court. Meh. And then his third response, Logan Paul's third response goes on Logan Paul's second channel. And he's like, yeah, you know what, actually, guys, I was tripping. Coffeezilla's right. Yeah. J-fold activities for sure.
Change in Logan's attitude so far. So let's see what he has to say to us.
Coffeezilla is not a criminal.
Oh, that's a relief. I thought Logan was going to hire me. But in all seriousness, this video does have some major...
Coffeezilla is not a criminal.
Oh, that's a relief. I thought Logan was going to hire me. But in all seriousness, this video does have some major admissions in it I want to go through. For one, Logan apologizes to me.
I called him. I apologized. My initial response to...
Logan Paul apologized to Coffeezilla. Huh.
For one, Logan apologizes to me.
I called him. I apologized. My initial response to his series was that of fire and ego.
Not only that, Logan also pledges a $1.3 million refund plan for people who bought his NFTs.
I am personally...
Wow, $1.3 million plan for people that bought his NFT. Oh, I might actually do the right thing.
Committing 1,000 ETH to this, which is about $1.3 million.
In addition to that, he also promises to finish Cryptozoo, which was left abandoned.
And then step 3, obviously finish and deliver the game as...
He's gonna finish and deliver the game? Guys, maybe I spoke too soon.
Outlined in the white paper.
Now, I'll be honest, this is a big change in tone, and honestly, a lot of this is good news. It's great that victims are going to get something back. Logan seems to acknowledge his...
Chathu, do we think that Logan actually refunded everybody and finished the game? What do you all think? Let me know, Chathu. What do you think?
Continuous lapse in judgment. He's not suing me, which is also cool. And frankly, this new response is just way better than his last two. I think we can all acknowledge that, while also acknowledging that it's not really a perfect response either. There are still major problems here. Like, for example, many of the victims just have been ignored in this response. A lot of accusations have gone unanswered, and worse, Logan still seems to be playing the victim a lot. So in this video, I'm going to do my best to give Logan credit where credit is absolutely due, while also sharing moments where I think this apology fell flat. And let me start with a positive. For example, I think if you were an outsider who is not affected by this scam and you wanted a reason to love Logan Paul again, I think this nails it. I mean, he's giving back some of the money, he's apologizing. So if you're a card-carrying member of the Low Gang, you can rest easy here. Logan says he's sorry, he says he's making things...
Low Gang?
Right, and I think that's the point of this video, is to speak to his core audience, to tell them he didn't scam anyone, and for what it's worth, I think Logan succeeds here. The problem is, I don't think I or the Cryptozoo holders were who Logan was really addressing here, and this is where the response falls more flat, because he doesn't adequately address the real victims of Cryptozoo, which I think they're rightfully angry about, and I wanted to spend some time talking about that, because, again, they've been the heartbeat of this whole story, and they feel very differently about this response than Logan's core audience does. They don't feel like it's enough. And I want to talk about why. Starting with the $1.3 million repayment plan. Because obviously this is the strongest part of Logan's entire response, actually opening up his wallet. And I don't want to minimize that in this video. I just do want to put it in context, because $1.3 million is a lot of money. Unfortunately, the scam was much bigger than $1.3 million. So the fact is...
I mean, Logan's out here like, I'm personally going to give $1.3 million back. And it's like, bro, that's not even the amount that, what's his name? Crypto King. That's not even the amount that he made off this thing.
Most victims are not going to be made whole by this plan. Just in Zoo Coins alone, blockchain evidence shows $7.7 million was stolen by Logan's team, depending on
7.7 M's minimum.
Who you believe. And this refund does nothing for those victims. It doesn't even apply to the holder of Zoo Coins at all. You get nothing if you bought this in-game currency. This refund...
If you bought this in-game currency for this game that didn't come out, you don't get a refund for that?
Only applies to current egg...
Good to bounce. Thanks for the show. Shout out to the top. Yo, appreciate you. Appreciate you, Scott. Appreciate you. Remember, if you're on Twitch, follow the channel.
Holders. So they can cash out that NFT for the initial mint price in crypto, which matters sort of because crypto has crashed a lot. So even though people spent $2.5 million on these eggs, in order to refund all these holders at mint price, it now only costs $1.3 million in today's money, which again is nice, but doesn't do enough because the Zoo Coins were most of this scam.
Man, Coffee really said, it's not enough.
8.
I mean, that's where most of the money was spent. It wasn't just on the NFTs. It was on this in-game currency, which Logan seems to have no intention of refunding. And his response for why is pretty bad. He responds to somebody who lost $80,000 who told him, I hope this isn't just doing what you have to do technically to not get sued. Logan replies with a screenshot of his white paper and later explains to another member of the Discord, I believe there has been a misconception here. As outlined in the white paper, Zoo was created to support Cryptozoo and was not intended to be...
Wait a second. So Logan replied to this person January 2023, and he said, Zoo was created to support Cryptozoo and was not intended to be an investment vehicle. But you literally said that it's a fun game where you make money. So it's not an investment vehicle, but you asked people to put money into the game and you told them they can make money off of it. Is that not what an investment vehicle is?
An investment vehicle. When you sold or bought is not my decision.
I mean, it's a little bit of Logan's decision because they couldn't have sold or bought until he released it to the public, but maybe I'm just too stupid when it comes to crypto stuff to understand why, like, why that doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't you just refund them whatever they paid if the game doesn't work, though?
And look, to be fair to him, there was a misconception that Zoo was an investment vehicle, but it's a misconception that he created. I mean, he's the one who said Cryptozoo was a fun game that earned you money. And how it earned you that money was that your NFTs earned you Zoo tokens. You know, things that were supposed to have value. That was the whole point of the game. So to suggest that these coins weren't advertised as valuable or an investment vehicle is insane, especially since Logan's own team had rules for selling based strictly on the value of said investment.
Okay, all right, cool. I just want to make sure I wasn't tripping. Okay, that makes sense.
Vehicle. Quote, rules for selling. No selling until a $200 million market cap. So I think it's fair to say if Logan's own team were buying Zoo coins early, waiting for them to go up in value to a certain level and then selling them, that sounds like an investment vehicle, albeit...
That sounds like an investment vehicle to me. It was an what Logan's saying is there's a bit of a misconception, okay? Here's the misconception, all right? Hear me out, okay? You thought that you were meant to make money. The thing is, my team was meant to make money. I think you got it confused. See, Logan's actually right. The misconception is that you thought you were going to get a functioning crypto project that was going to work. It was going to be a fun game that made you money. No. We make the money. You get fucked.
A very stupid one. So this explanation definitely doesn't hold water, and Logan obviously just doesn't want to be on the hook for Zoo coins. Instead, he just kind of wants to refund the much smaller part of the NFTs. What makes this even worse is that this refund doesn't even apply to everyone who bought these NFTs, because some of these people sold their NFTs at a deep loss thinking that Cryptozoo was over, that it was abandoned, and there's actually a way you...
Shout out AC in the chat.
Could have tracked this whole thing, or Logan could have, and, you know, found a way to repay all the people who lost money on eggs. But instead, this refund only applies to current holders, meaning nobody who sold during the year and a half this project was abandoned gets anything back, which is a large percentage of the actual...
If you look at the court document, Logan is actually winning the declamation case. I'm sure you mean defamation. Send that link to me on Instagram or Twitter or something.
Victims, and this is pretty bad. This was brought to Logan's attention by one of the people in the Discord. Joao says, quote, Logan Paul, what will happen to the people who sold everything at a loss when the project appeared to be, quote, abandoned? Will everyone who minted be able to get that refund, or just the current owners? Now, in reply to this, someone in the Discord said, if you sell, you lose common investing knowledge. And Logan replies, seeming to agree with this idea.
What? If you sell, you lose common investing knowledge? So they're being penalized for selling because the game didn't come out for like a year? Wasn't launch day in like September or November or something of like 2021? And then it like in 2023, people had sold because they're like, well, obviously this isn't coming out. And they're like, well, you lost because you sold. you should have held that token for that game that never worked.
Which is just...
Thank you for this $2, by the way. Have you ever seen Crypto Land? It's hilarious. No, I have not. But thank you for the $2. It's really kind.
Kind of a terrible perspective for Logan to have when he seems to be saying that he wants to refund these people, and he's the reason a lot of these people left. And this is where Logan's new apology starts to ring more hollow. It's in all of the follow-ups after the response video, because I don't know if he can help himself from betraying how he...
So it's like he sounds good in the initial response video because that's the one for the public, but all the private stuff that he's doing makes it seem like, I don't actually care, man. Y'all got hope, but it's not my problem.
He really feels about this, because in another Discord exchange, Logan says, please do not put any more money into Cryptozoo.
Why would he say don't put any more money into Cryptozoo? I thought they were going to finish the game, though.
Which, by the way, is quite reasonable to say, but then somebody follows up and says, guys, can someone explain what he said with not investing? But rather than replying, oh, guys, I just meant like I don't want anyone else losing money, or, you know, I don't want anyone else recklessly gambling, Logan replies instead, quote, I will no longer be the scapegoat for anyone's financial
I'm sorry. I will no longer be the scapegoat for anyone's financial decisions. But you launched the project, it didn't work, people lost money, then you came back and said we're going to finish the game, but then you said don't put any more money into it. Why would they not put money into it if it's like a project that you're proud of, though? Like, if you're gonna finish the game, why are you telling people don't invest? I thought it was a fun game that made you money, and now you're like, don't do it. And I will no longer be a scapegoat for anyone's financial decisions. I will not be a scapegoat. Y'all aren't gonna scapegoat me. What? Do you have access to Pacer? I don't know what that is.
Decisions, which is a wild response for someone who's claiming to refund people, because it implies that he thinks he's the victim here. And this is just insane to say as the face of this project, which got everyone involved, because I think it betrays how he feels about this situation. He doesn't seem to see anything wrong with advertising a game that will make you money, it never delivering, millions of dollars being stolen by criminals he hired. And then when all of those people want their money back, he feels like he's the scapegoat. Like, oh, these guys shouldn't have believed me when I advertised to them.
But that's just my opinion and response, essentially.
All of those people want their money back, he feels like he's the scapegoat. Like, oh, these guys shouldn't have believed me when I advertised to them a fun game that will make you money. It just doesn't make any sense.
He's like mad at them for believing in the thing that he told them was a good idea because it was his thing. Huh?
I mean, Logan had a simple job to do. All he had to do was just come out, apologize, get as much money back for the victims as possible. But he himself can't help but play the victim here. In fact, I have a third example of how Logan might really feel, because Logan tweeted right before this response. He says, quote, "The Matrix is real. Pray you never become its target." Now, I guess he's trying to channel Andrew Tate here unsuccessfully.
Andrew Tate. Ew, dude.
Basically saying like, I'm getting attacked, not because I did anything wrong or scammed anyone. I'm just too much of a truth teller. I'm just an enemy of the system. That's why I must be getting attacked. But if that's the case, we then have to wonder, did the Matrix force you to apologize? Did it force you to hand back?
Logan's a victim of the Matrix, but also the Matrix forced him to apologize and give the money back.
1.3 million?
Pacer's a website that gives you access to legal filings. Oh, sick.
I think comments like this go so far to undercut his apology.
Y'all kicking my back in.
Because it's very clear that instead of actually like caring about the victims, he feels like he's a victim. I mean, he's saying like, oh, pray you never become its target. Who's the Matrix though, Logan? Like, is it your fans who got robbed? Who are the—
No, Coffeezilla, you are the Matrix.
Agents coming after you. I know it's not me. I know you're not—
It's you.
Saying I'm the Matrix here in my $10 million studio. Because after all, you're thanking me. You're thanking the Matrix. Like,
oh yeah, the title of Logan's video was "Thank You, Coffeezilla," which is gonna be really funny when we get to the conclusion of this.
Saying I'm the Matrix here in my $10 million studio. Because after all, you're thanking me. You're thanking the Matrix. Like, what is this response? It's so childish, the way he speaks about this stuff. And again, this isn't to be dismissive of Logan's actions if he follows through, because there is a lot of good that 1.3 million can do. And you know what? If he goes back and he finishes the game, that's also good. But it's just so frustrating when the good that Logan seems to be doing, he's doing the bare minimum of at the last possible second with motivations that seem to be, in the proper context, to say it lightly, irreparably tainted by self-interest. Now, I'm not going to address Logan's other two responses.
Irreparably tainted by self-interest. Irreparably tainted by self-interest. That's pretty cool. No, it's pretty dope. Coffee talking that talk, as per usual. As per usual. As per usual. Hold on. Get my other tabs organized. We are live. We are live. Okay, here we go.
Response videos, which are mostly like attacking me because Logan sort of walked those back now. He's apologized.
Yeah, he walked those back, but did he actually though?
He said he was going to delete them. I think he deleted one of them. The other one's still up. I don't know if the impulsive episode's going to go down. Either way, it's just much less interesting now that he says he doesn't like mean it anymore. He's not going to sue. So I don't feel the need to publicly defend myself.
Oh, you hear that? Logan's not going to sue anymore.
If you're curious about all the wild stuff that was wrong in those first two responses, I'll put the video live on my Patreon, but I didn't want to release it at the time because I thought there was a better chance at getting a good ending for the victims here if I was a bit more diplomatic with Logan at this critical juncture when he was deciding whether he was going to give money back or not. I don't know if I succeeded in moving the needle, but that was certainly my intention. Either way, now that Logan has responded with his plan, and I've given my perspective on how much I think it's rooted in, self-interest versus a genuine, attempt to help out the victims, I think this is about as much as I'm going to be able to contribute to the situation. I mean, I do think it's incredible that even $1.3 million came of this, while I also can acknowledge that it's not nearly enough for the real victims of this. I'll follow up in the future to make sure that he actually gives that money away.
Wow, well, that's pretty much it. Wait a second. Wait, hold on. Logan Paul's scam isn't over? Logan Paul's quote-unquote refund? Oh my God, it won't end. It won't end. All right, okay. Listen, take a bathroom break, get some water, stretch, stop hunching. All right? I have been yapping for some time. I am going to play this quick little ting for you all, and I will be right back with you. Thank you for your patience. Enjoy a snippet of a 10 out of 10 song. BRB. Troll. He's silly. All right. Anyways. Where were we at? Where were we? It's a great song. Great song, by the way. Wake up in the morning, I'd be hating on shit. Same. All right, here we go. 139 people in the chat. Golly. Thank you all so much for being here. If you'd like to become a member, it's literally $1. Like the video. $1 to become a big derp. Where are we at next? I thought this was pretty much over, but it looks like Coffeezilla continues to follow up. Continue to keep the... What's this in the search bar? Don't Google what did Logan Paul do in Japan. Yeah, definitely don't do that. Let's see what this video is about. Logan Paul's scam isn't over? Oh, Jesus.
6 months ago, I investigated Cryptozoo, a scam created by Logan Paul and a team of criminals. Oh, and a dude named Jeff, which ultimately resulted in millions of dollars being stolen from fans. I was threatened with a lawsuit for exposing it, but ultimately, Logan Paul decided to thank me instead.
Remember, Logan Paul threatened to sue Coffeezilla, but then he changed his mind and he thanked Coffeezilla, and then he said he would pay the people back and he would finish the game. He said he would pay people back. He said he would not sue Coffeezilla. He would pay people back and he would finish the game. And I'm sure that he did all three of those things.
Instead for his public undressing and announced a $1.8 million refund to the victims. Now, I thought that was a great ending to the story, but I also said this. I'll follow up in the future to make sure that he actually gives that money away, and that's why we're here today. It's been 6 months, so here's a follow-up.
This is 6 months after Logan Paul said he would pay people back. 6 months after he said he wouldn't sue Coffeezilla. 6 months after he said he would finish the game.
Logan Paul has not paid back his victims. He hasn't talked about it since he first announced he was going to pay them back. And what's worst of all, he doesn't seem to have a plan in place to refund anyone. How do I know that? Well, because I've been asking Logan for that plan to refund people the entire time behind the scenes in messages like these. Quote, "Hey Logan, following up on the Zoo
Oh, he actually got Logan Paul's personal cell phone number.
Refunds, when should people expect those? It's been about a month." And then a month later, following up again. People are wondering what's going on. Almost been 2 months. Very frustrating for victims to get promises and then see nothing and get zero.
Wow, so 2 months. 2 months after Logan Paul said he would refund people, there was still no plan. Maybe he had concepts of a plan.
Communication. And then later, "Hey Logan, following up for a third time, it's been over 5 months since you promised to refund the victims of Cryptozoo." Oh,
wow. 5 months passed. And Coffee asked 3 different times when Logan was actually going to refund the people. It's almost like Logan just said he was going to refund the people, and then he just didn't for 5 months. But I don't think Logan Paul would do something like that. He's a pretty chill guy.
Over $3 million. I meant to say $1.8 million there. The price of crypto changed a lot, so what this buyback was going to be was constantly changing. I just misspoke there. Either way, my point was this, quote, you haven't contacted any of them, nor explained why you haven't done what you said you'd do. Meanwhile, you got public credit for promising to do this. And all of this, Logan didn't respond to, which is odd.
It's weird. Maybe Logan's just a busy guy.
Credit for promising to do this. And all of this, Logan didn't respond to, which is odd since he was such a fan of me reaching out to him personally. You know, instead of making things public.
Maybe we could have talked about this if you had reached out to me personally, not my manager, Jeff, who is not me, Steven.
Well, I did reach out.
Ooh, angry Logan. You should have reached out to me, not my stupid manager, me personally, Steven, all right? But now I gotta sue your ass, Coffee. And now Coffeezilla actually tries to reach out to him personally, and he ignores him for 5 months straight.
Out to you, and I got no response. In fact, the only response I got came on my 4th attempt to reach Logan, but this one came from his criminal defense lawyers. A guy named Jeffrey Neiman emailed me.
Whoa. So after about 6 months of not responding to Coffeezilla, Logan sends the law. He called them boys in blue.
Me after my 4th attempt saying, Steven, see inserted on behalf of Logan Paul.
Logan Paul? I know this lawyer that works for Logan didn't refer to Logan as Logan Paul. I know that didn't happen.
Neiman emailed me after my 4th attempt saying, Steven, see inserted on behalf of Logan Paul. Now, to be honest, I had no idea.
Logan Paul. Logan Paul doesn't have enough L's. You had to add another one? That's 3 L's. Logan Paul. Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, who Logan Paul was until I researched the lawyer and learned that he, quote, regularly defends individuals and corporations in white-collar criminal litigation.
Oh, sick.
And that's when I realized, oh, that Logan Paul. Why didn't you just say you defended alleged white-collar criminals? Would have saved me a Google search. So I opened up the letter and it read, we represent Logan Paul. Mr. Paul has informed us of your outreach about the status of the Cryptozoo buybacks. Mr. Paul remains committed to this process. We are working with Mr. Paul to evaluate the best way to achieve this goal.
Hold the phone. I know Logan Paul did not come out and say that he was going to refund people. And then 6 months later, he says we are working with Mr. Paul to evaluate the best way to achieve this goal. They still don't have a plan? Why even announce that you're going to do the refund if you don't even have a plan after 6 months? What?
In the meantime, please direct to our attention any further inquiries to Mr. Paul.
If you want to talk to Logan, and if you want to talk to Logan again, you talk to him through us, his lawyers, huh? I'm starting to think that Pogan Law is terrified of a conversation with Coffeezilla.
You for your patience and understanding. Now, that might seem like a good step in the right direction to you.
No, it doesn't.
At least we got a response on behalf of Logan. But when I read their response carefully, I realized things were actually worse than I thought. Because 2 things are absent from this statement. 1, a timeline for refunds, and 2, a plan for refunds. I mean, you have this abominable statement which says, we are working with Mr. Paul to evaluate the best way to achieve this goal. So you're still at the whiteboard then. Guys, this is a statement you say when you have no plan or you're stalling, right? You say, we're evaluating the best options. I mean, that's where Logan was back in January. He was evaluating. Am I supposed to believe 6 months later, you guys haven't figured this out? You've gathered all the boys in the office, brainstorming every single day. How do we refund people? And you don't.
It's actually not difficult at all, though, because I thought the cool thing about crypto was that, like, everything is trackable and traceable. There's just no way they don't know who needs to be paid back. There's no way they couldn't just be like, hey, submit a form here. Tell us how much, give us your crypto wallet address. Let us know how much you put in, and we'll just refund it right back to you. Like, it's actually not that hard, and I don't even know anything about crypto for real.
Don't know? I mean, listen, he had more of a plan, Logan did, back in January. I'm not even sure what there is to even still figure out, because way back then, January 16th, he said, I've committed more than 1.8 million for those who do not want to wait for Cryptozoo to be completed. Players will be able to burn their base.
Wait, those who don't want to wait for Cryptozoo to be completed. Wait, did he finish? Is the game still coming?
eggs, and base animals for their mint price. I mean, there it is. That's the plan. Pay a blockchain dev to code that up and pay the victims their money. That's it. But we see absolutely no sign of that. And it's not for a lack of Logan having the cash. He's on a world tour for Prime right now, bragging about how much money his drink company is making.
In January of this year, we did 45 million.
Oh, only in
In January of that year, they made $45 million off Prime. First of all, I don't know why you would share that publicly. But furthermore, especially when you actually owe people money, dog.
January.
Yeah. Wow, 45 million is a good month. Also, January
a month
happens to be the same month Logan promised those Cryptozoo refunds. So
it's crazy. He said that the same month he promised the refunds.
There's no good explanation for why Logan hasn't refunded his victims yet, because he had a plan back in January. He had the money. But there's even less of a good explanation for why he hasn't explained himself for the delay to either me privately or to the victims publicly, who are just waiting around for months with no word about the status of their promised refund. Now, eventually, I do believe Logan will address this. I think he has to. And when he does, I think he'll probably point to a lawsuit that he's in for the reason he couldn't speak. He had to be silent. Only he's tried this before, and it didn't make a lot of sense then either.
I had to rely on my team. I crumbled internally, and the advice was while
I crumbled internally?
Actual legal process was going on because of criminal investigation taking place that Coffeezilla highlighted in his series, I had to stay silent. And for a year, I'm hounding Jeff.
I don't believe you.
Jeff, how do we make this right?
All right, let's get this straight. Logan was dying to make Cryptozoo right the first time, but was legally required to be silent until a YouTuber talked about it? Did the judge magically unseal his lips when my video dropped? I'm confused. He's not prevented from explaining himself, and he's certainly not legally prevented.
Logan Paul pretending like the reason why he didn't say anything about Cryptozoo is because like legal people told him that he couldn't. But then as soon as Coffeezilla made his series on it, then he started talking in great detail about it. So it's like, I don't think whatever judge or lawyer or whoever the fuck was like, you can't speak on this for legal reasons. But then the Coffeezilla video dropped and they were like, you know what? You can defend yourself, Mr. Paul. He's just lying. It's just a lie.
From giving people their money back. Even if you want to argue the point that maybe Logan might look more guilty if he promises to pay victims, well, sure, but he already did that though. He said he felt so bad that he was going to refund $1.8 million to the affected people who invested. But actually delivering that promise doesn't add any layer of admission to that guilt. He already said he was responsible. At this point, refunding people is just doing what he said he was going to do from the beginning. No, I think the real reason Logan hasn't paid, if I had to guess, is just because either he does not want to pay, he cannot be bothered to pay on time, or he's just stalling. All of which...
I think he just doesn't really feel like it, if I'm being honest. I think he just doesn't feel like it. It's not that he doesn't have the time. It's not that he doesn't have the money. It's not that he doesn't know what's the right thing to do. He just doesn't feel like it. I mean, who's ever in the mood to pay back millions of dollars? I mean, I wouldn't be. Guys, I think he just doesn't feel like it. And he said, "What up, nerds? What we yapping about? We're talking about Logan Paul's crypto scam. You're mad late. You're like 2.5 hours late, but you know, we're basically Coffeezilla did a deep dive on the entire Cryptozoo scam by Logan Paul. I use scam. I say scam because it's my opinion. My opinion is that Logan Paul ran a scam, and now we're at the point where he said that he would pay back the victims. At this point in the story, he has not. For 5 months, he didn't pay them back after saying that he would. He also said that he wouldn't sue Coffeezilla, which is nice, but, you know, we're from the future. And he also said that he was going to finish the game, which, you know, I don't know, Google it. I don't know if it ever came out, but we'll see.
Are unacceptable. Because let me remind you of his promise. Quote, I have committed more than $1.8 million.
You don't understand. He didn't... He committed to pay the money back. You know, paying the money back and committing to pay the money back are pretty much the same thing. Yes, did he... Okay, did he literally pay the money back? No. But did he commit to? Yes, and he deserves credit for that.
For those who do not want to wait for Cryptozoo to be completed. That is what he said, and the people are tired of waiting, including me. After months of trying to work behind the scenes and ask questions behind the scenes privately to him, I'm just out of ideas, and I'm stuck trying to speak to Logan in the only language I believe he understands. self-interest. Logan, if I could speak to you for a second.
Oh boy.
Okay, bring in the camera. This isn't worth your time.
He said, hey, yo, lock in. He said, hey, son, come here. Listen to Papa.
Logan, if I could speak to you for a second. Okay, bring in the camera. This isn't worth your time. Getting publicly flogged like this every 6 months? What, are we going to be doing this in a year? No. Okay? It's not worth your time. It's barely worth my time. Just please pay the people back what you owe. Give them a real timeline, a real plan, and then we can all go back to pretending you've changed. Logan Paul is refunding people he scammed.
Whoa! What a crazy way to end that video. But wait, there's more. There's more. There's even more. It is Amber Heard logic. Yes, I did say I would donate the money. I pledged to. I know I did not literally give the money. I know it didn't actually go from my bank account to the people I said I would donate it to. But you have to understand, I pledged it. So, like, get off me. Part 6. Logan Paul's quote-unquote refund. Hello, here we are. It just won't end. Here we go. Lock in, drink water, stretch. Like the video.
Logan Paul is refunding people he scammed if they promise to stop suing him for the vastly larger amount he may owe them. And honestly, I'm conflicted because on the one hand, victims getting...
I remember you was conflicted. Misusing the influence. Sometimes I did the same.
Money is always great. And I'm proud that our investigation led to some real-world consequences. But I can't pretend that things are fixed or fine for people who entrusted me with their story when that's just not true. So here's the real, more complicated story in 3 parts. The refund offer, the zoo tokens, the lawsuit, starting with the most important part. And if you get one thing from this story, this should be it. These are the estimated damages in Cryptozoo. $18.5 million.
Sheesh. Estimated damages in Cryptozoo. 18.5 milli. 18 M's.
Which comes from a combination of ZooCoin and NFT sales. And then this much smaller percentage of that pie is what Logan is actually offering to refund, on the condition, though, that all of the people who spent the last year suing him for the larger damages drop their case. So,
wow. If you want any of this Cryptozoo money back, you cannot sue me. Why can't you sue and get the refund, though?
That's a refund of only 12% to drop 100% of the case that, as far as I can tell, Logan may be losing. Put in that light, then, this refund starts to look less like a good faith attempt to make things right and more like a cynical bargaining chip to avoid getting in even more trouble. And a careful look at these refunds conditions show that Logan is even less serious of a person you may give him credit for. Logan is offering only...
Logan Paul happens to be even less serious than we originally thought he was. That's crazy because I didn't think he was ever even a little bit serious at all.
A 1-month claim window for this refund.
You have 1 month to tell me that you want a portion of your money back and you cannot sue me anymore. You got 1 month to let me know.
Given a year after waiting, and hidden in this wall of text is the most shocking part, which is that he's not releasing the Cryptozoo game.
Oh my goodness. After all of this, he's not even going to finish making the game. It's a scam. I don't understand how it's not a scam. He admits that he's never releasing the game. As far as the game itself, unfortunately, it will not be released. How hard was it to make this game? You're telling me he couldn't find a person or group of people on the planet to make this stupid ass game?
At all. Which, I know we all kind of knew that, but is actually insane, because that's the thing. To be clear, he's sold millions of dollars of NFTs for and tens of millions of dollars of in-game Cryptozoo tokens for. I knew
$18.5 million possibly were put into this. And they just literally never even made the game.
Knew he wasn't going to make it, right? We all get that. But I watched for 3 years as Logan's fans, and that's what these investors were. They were fans of Logan Paul. They spent 3 years begging this guy to make this game. And the entire time, he told them he was working on it. And I thought, even at my most pessimistic, that Logan would at least...
What was the game? Cryptozoo.
Crap out. Some abomination that he described as a game that limped past our lowest collective expectations. But I was wrong. I mean, I wasn't wrong the first time he said I was wrong, when he said he was going to still finish the game. I was wrong that he was going to do it at all.
But even after 12 months of work, you've still managed to overlook one crucial piece of information. See, even though I've said it's coming so many times,
Even though I've said it's coming so many times, this is my favorite part. This is my favorite part right here. I'm not gonna lie. This clip actually lives in my head rent free. It's one of the clips that I was thinking about yesterday before I decided to do this video today. Listen to how smug Logan sounds when he talks about how they're going to finish the game. Listen to how he talks down to Coffeezilla in this patronizing and condescending way. You think that the game's still not coming. Who are you to determine the timeline for when this game is completed? You fool. The game is still coming. It's just a matter of time. Lock into this clip right here, because this is the funniest part of this entire thing. Because the whole point of all of this back and forth, all this nonsense, all this drama is over this stupid game. And listen to how fucking bullyish, confident, smug he sounds about them finishing this game, that he would then go on to admit, oh, I couldn't actually do it. Listen to this hoe.
Still finish the game. I was wrong that he was going to do it at all.
But even after 12 months of work, you've still managed to overlook one crucial piece of information. See, even though I've said it's coming so many times, you've assumed that Cryptozoo isn't being made. Who are you to decide when the development timeline ends? Trust me, Cryptozoo is coming. I will make damn sure of it.
Cryptozoo is coming. I will make damn sure of it. Okay.
So much for making damn sure of it, because there's no game. This is what
there's no game.
What makes this such a massive con? This guy sold millions in NFTs to
Wing Wong Prime.
Tens of millions of Zoo tokens, and he's not even going to release the thing he promised this whole time. This is why it's such a slap in the face. These investors spent 3 years waiting for a game. Not only that, 2 years waiting for an update, which he never gave, and then a year suing him. And after all of that, all he offers is a 12% refund, no game, 30 days to accept. So look, Logan's
12% refund, no game, 30 days to accept.
Already taking heat for making good on a promise that he made a year late, but that's not even true. He's not making good on this promise because it's not the same promise. Last year, what he promised was no strings attached buyback and you get a game. This year, it's please drop your lawsuit and you don't get a game. Which is incredible to me that there are influencers out there like KSI parading this around like a win for Logan Paul. Like he's...
What will the haters say now? See, this... This is why we packed up KSI a few months ago last year. What will the haters say now? The haters will say that he didn't make the game. KSI's an idiot. I'm sorry.
Some sort of hero for offering a year late half-baked settlement offer. KSI says, what will the haters say now? I don't know. How about where's the game? Where's the art?
Where's the game?
Art. Where's the millions invested? Where's the motivation for this tweet?
Do y'all remember when he said 6 months, $1 million fan-made or handmade art? 6 months, $1 million handmade art. 10 different artists, very specific notes. Team of crypto developers. Nothing. No game. Nothing.
Oh, wait. KSI is a co-founder with Logan and Prime. So, of course, that makes KSI Logan's new biggest fan. But seeing as how Logan treats his biggest fans, don't say I didn't warn you. So that's part one, the refund. Now part two is the Zoo tokens. Remember, there were two parts to Cryptozoo, the Zoo tokens and egg NFTs. Now, the tokens were the vast amount of damages that were actually caused, while the NFT sales were much lower. Logan conveniently wants to refund this much smaller part of his game, the NFTs, while pretending that these Zoo tokens were never a real part, they were just gambling. Now, this was sort of less bad when the game was still going to come out because, you know, it made some sense. Maybe you'd still have these tokens, but now it makes no sense at all. From Logan's statement, this buyback is a way for me to make whole those who intended to play Cryptozoo. The buyback is not intended to compensate those who gambled on the crypto market and lost.
Gambled on the crypto market? He's calling it gambling on the crypto market by buying the Zoo tokens for the Cryptozoo game. What?
So he's describing people who bought his in-game currency as gamblers. But that
people bought in-game currency for a game they could never get in, and he's calling it a gamble. What?
It's confusing because the whole point of these Zoo tokens was to buy the egg NFTs and play the game. That's literally how it worked.
This is why the Department of Education is important.
According to him. So instead, he calls people gamblers, despite also saying, quote, Zoo token was created to support the Cryptozoo game and its...
But I thought it was a fun game that would make you money.
Players. It was, quote, not intended to be an investment vehicle. So how can he say that, then turn around and say people who bought this were gambling if it's not an investment? How can you refund people who intended to play Cryptozoo if you don't refund people who bought the token that was, quote, created to support the Cryptozoo game? You can't. It makes no sense. And this is why I say this isn't even close to a full refund. And now that he's abandoning the game, what we actually have is millions of dollars of in-game currency Logan sold.
Oh, trusting Logan Paul is the gamble. Okay. I get it.
That he won't pay back. Which brings us to the final part of this story. The third part, the lawsuit. After telling all his fans that they were gamblers who lost, Logan has one final surprise. He says, quote, I have filed a lawsuit in federal court in Texas to hold these bad actors accountable.
Thank God. That's what people that lost all their money want to hear. Well, the good news is at least Logan Paul is suing the scammers that he hired. Yeah, that's gonna put my kids through college.
Who ruined Cryptozoo. But what Logan doesn't tell you is that Texas lawsuit is something he's being sued in already. He's a defendant in the lawsuit that he links in his tweet. He's just cross-suing his co-defendants. Like, he's already being sued, and he's just re-suing the same guys who are already being sued. And who are these secret bad actors Logan's going to hold accountable anyways? Turns out it's his employees he hired,
Ed Boy, Ben Roth, Crypto King,
Ibanz, and Crypto King, which all of us already knew because I investigated the story a year ago. But imagine my surprise when Logan Paul tries to rewrite my investigation to pretend he did all the work himself and uncovered the real scam of Cryptozoo.
Logan Paul is literally taking Coffeezilla's work and using it to sue the people he hired. You cannot make this shit up.
While simultaneously trying to erase his part in it. He says, and I find this very funny because I spent a year on that story, quote, this lawsuit is the result of an exhaustive investigation that included the review of the entirety of conversations. You'd be forgiven to think he was quoting my investigation. He's not. He copied it and tried to rewrite it to make himself look good. In this lawsuit, he says things like, hey guys, turns out Eddie Ibanz's entire backstory was a fabrication, including the MIT NFL story. Can you believe it? It's like, yeah, we know. And then he goes, yeah, well, you won't believe what I discovered. Crypto King secretly sold tokens. Yeah, we know. Logan just shamelessly rips off my work claim for claim without citing me. I mean, he says things like Mr. Greenbaum would later admit that he made millions of dollars through his surreptitious sales of Zoo tokens.
Yeah, he literally told that to Coffeezilla. Coffeezilla had him admit to Coffeezilla. Coffeezilla had Crypto King admit to Coffeezilla that Crypto King sold the coins early for millions. And now Logan is putting that in his lawsuit against Crypto King. Oh my goodness.
Tokens. But where did Logan find that admission? Was it perhaps when he investigated my video? Time and time again, this lawsuit copies my work, but is embarrassed to cite it. So they even have to say things like, based on public reports. What public report? Mr. Ibanz.
They're talking about Coffeezilla's public YouTube video based on public reports. It's Steven!
has made approximately $1.7 million from selling Zoo tokens.
Dude, Logan Paul is such a piece of shit, dude. Jesus Christ.
I could swear I've heard that before. And for my calculations, he made about $1.7 million.
Coffeezilla was the first person to say this publicly, and Logan Paul just shamelessly puts it in his lawsuit and doesn't credit him. What?
Look, I don't usually mind people using my work, but it's kind of a little strange that Logan...
How is your court filing plagiarism? And this is after Logan Paul initially came out and said that Coffeezilla was like a clout-chasing fraud that he was going to sue, but then he uses that same work to sue the people that he hired for the scam.
And simultaneously trying to discredit my work, saying this lawsuit is not based on snippets of conversation taken out of context, a snipe at my investigation, while then stealth quoting it to pretend that they did any real legwork. And look, if you found that shameless, that he tries to steal my work and pass it off as his own investigation, this...
It is shameless. Take all the luck you got. No, that is not what I... You have been once before, but it's not like that anymore. I'm sorry. I'm getting off track.
This next part gets even worse, because Logan's story this whole time has been that it's all other people's fault. You know, it's just bad actors. Everyone but him was bad. He was always...
You guys have to understand, literally everybody except for Logan was bad. That's the moral of the story. Logan didn't do anything. It's just the people that he hired did all the bad stuff. Logan didn't rob the bank. He just hired the people that robbed the bank. It's not his fault.
Well-intentioned. But his timeline contradicts him. According to his investigation, which is actually my investigation, in August and October of 2021, he learns that Jake Greenbaum and Eddie Ibanz are bad news, and he kicks them out of his team. So what does he do after that? He's gotten rid of the bad actors. Can't blame them anymore, right?
Hey, also, if you're in the chat, if you're in the YouTube chat and you're just chilling, hey, could you like subscribe to my YouTube channel, please? I'm trying to get 35,000. Okay, that's all.
Does he make Cryptozoo? No. For a full year before I made my video, Logan Paul had full control over his project. He admits it in his own lawsuit, and he did nothing. He said nothing. So how does he avoid accountability now? Well, enter the whipping boy Jeff. That's right, manager Jeff is making one last appearance. Logan blames Jeff for screwing up September 2021 through 2022, but you know what he doesn't mention? What he'll never mention?
Wow.
The real reason the project didn't get back on track is not because of Eddie, not because of Crypto King, but because Logan's own team stopped paying developers who are working on rebuilding the game. So those people stopped
unsubscribe
working on Cryptozoo. And that's when I found it. The game was dead. It had been dead for months. And that's when I made a big stink out of it. Meaning, it was 100% within Logan's power to save this game. I'm not saying nobody else did bad things, but Logan ultimately had over a year to launch it, to make things right, and he didn't, for financial reasons.
He never made the game.
Not because someone backstabbed him. He just didn't want to spend the money it would take to make things right. And you know what? That is still true now. It is still 100% within Logan Paul's power as a near billionaire with Prime to make things right, fully right, with his fans who he scammed.
It's just so annoying that Pogan Law 1000% has enough money to literally pay everybody back for everything they invested in. He's just like, no, I just won't do it.
And if he did, gave a full refund, we would all celebrate.
Oh, we stopped cranking that Soldier Boy.
Me foremost. But will he? Or will he try to dodge responsibility, cheap out, rip his fans off, and avoid accountability? I think it's the latter. So, those are the three main points. You're all caught up. To recap, part one, refunds. They're being used as a bargaining chip to drop a lawsuit, and so he never has to produce this game, which has been promised for 3 years, and he's sold tens of millions of dollars for. Part two is the Zoo tokens. He's pretending they're not for a game that they definitely were for to avoid refunding people, when in fact he admits they were created to support the game. Part three is the lawsuit, where he stole my investigation, tried to pass it off as his own, but just cuts out the part where he did everything wrong, and leaves out the entire year where he was solely in charge of the project. No bad actors. He could have fixed everything, but
Logan is very much in charge of the project that he now claims that like only other people destroyed. Like there was a point where he was like, Jeff told the other people in the leaked messages, allegedly, there's like, hey, nobody make any more moves. No more moves happen from anybody unless Logan says that you can do it first. And now Logan's like, no, it wasn't me. I didn't do anything. It wasn't my fault. I never sold. I never scammed anybody. I didn't do anything. It was literally everybody else. Every single other person involved is bad except for me, obviously.
he didn't, because he's cheap and doesn't want to pay anybody. Anyway, I hope that catches you up with what's been going on, and I hope we as a community can have the nuance and complexity to hold in our minds two things at the same time as true. One, it's always good if victims get any money back, and we should celebrate that. However, number two is
this stream on 1.5 times speed? So, okay, the YouTube videos I'm watching are on 1.25 speed. I am just yapping fast because I'm a certified yapper. Some call me a velociyapper.
That doesn't mean we can't fight for 100% of what they deserve. And Logan Paul is not a hero for doing this or making things right. He's a serious...
All right, anyways, if you gave money to Logan Paul, I don't feel sorry for you, but you should sue him. Honestly fair. Okay, now, this is pretty much it at this point, right? Oh my goodness, wait, there's one more. Wait, do you guys remember when Logan Paul was like, hey, I'm going to refund everybody, and then he didn't actually really refund everybody? And then he was like, why are you acting like I'm not going to finish the game? And then he didn't actually finish the game. And then he said, I'm not going to sue Coffeezilla. Well, it turns out he sued Coffeezilla anyways.
Logan,
you're not going to believe this. Logan Paul sued this guy that we've been watching for the past 3 hours after saying he wasn't going to sue him. Logan Paul said, Logan Paul's manager was like, hey, be careful, you got to report facts, we're going to sue you. And then he was like, are you saying you're going to sue me? And he was like, no. And then Logan was like, we're going to sue him. And he was like, you know what? I was being crazy. I'm not going to sue him. And now he's going to sue him. Logan Paul is suing Coffeezilla. This was 8 months ago. So we're getting close to the present now. This started in 2021. It is now 2025. But just 8 months ago, Logan Paul decided, man, I'm so sick of Coffeezilla telling people that I'm a scammer. So here we go. The end of our saga. Logan Paul, more like legal Paul. It's not my best.
Logan Paul is suing me for Cryptozoo only a year after he thanked me for it. Rather than pay back his victims fully, Logan would rather publicly humiliate himself in court by accusing me of defaming him. He's hired 5 lawyers to sue me, which he hopes will stop me from exposing him again.
He's hired 5 lawyers to sue me. It's crazy.
You see, only hours before this lawsuit was filed, I had reached out to Logan Paul about a new investigation into one of his companies, which has just been accused by the Canadian government of being a multi-layered fraud in Canada. I obviously had questions, but before I was able to get answers, Logan's team of lawyers showed up to silence me. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to go through this lawsuit. I'm going to tell you how to support us if you want, because while I didn't think I'd need help, I was wrong. But before we get to my mistake, let's start with Logan's. This lawsuit...
Logan is suing our boy. Logan is suing our boy Coffee.
Is not about Logan Paul getting defamed. Instead, this is about him trying to dodge accountability, victims, and blame anyone but himself for his problems, especially me. This lawsuit says Logan Paul wants to hold me accountable for my actions.
Logan Paul wants to hold Coffeezilla accountable. Yeah, Coffeezilla is the one that needs to be held accountable.
But what actions are those? Holding him accountable? It's ironic because his lawyers claim Logan has learned to believe in the importance of accountability. But accountability for who? Currently, Logan is fighting the victims of Cryptozoo in court, and now he's fighting the journalist who exposed him in the first place. Personally, I believe Logan has learned nothing from this except how to silence people with the law. But I won't be silenced, because Logan's lawsuit makes no sense. We're gonna go through it because from the beginning, there's problems. Logan's 5 lawyers tried to discredit me as a journalist. They paint me as someone who wanted money. They say I had a false and malicious narrative. But you know who doesn't believe that? You know who secretly praises me behind the scenes?
This journalist, YouTuber, crypto uncoverer guy named Coffeezilla.
Oh boy.
Who's incredible, by the way.
Oh, you said Coffeezilla's incredible.
Very thorough, good-hearted, smart guy. Did a deep dive into this project that I attempted to make called Cryptozoo.
Oh boy.
That's right, it's Logan Paul. He's the biggest enemy of Logan Paul's defamation case. Who knew? Because defamation requires actual malice and a reckless disregard for the truth. But he just admitted on camera that I am thorough and good-hearted. Maybe that's why he wanted to remove that video.
That's weird. Why would Logan Paul say that Coffeezilla investigated Cryptozoo, but was thorough and good-hearted, but now he's suing him? That's suspicious. That's weird.
From the internet, according to the YouTuber who released it.
The only issue that was ever communicated was remove this crypto stuff, remove this Cryptozoo stuff. If Cryptozoo is in there, Coffeezilla's in there, I'm not going to promote it.
Wow.
Yeah, remove that Cryptozoo stuff.
He's doing a compliment sandwich.
That Coffeezilla stuff doesn't look good when you compliment the guy you're trying to sue. Maybe that's why Logan isn't even suing me for my original investigation at all, despite most of this lawsuit being a ridiculous fanfic about how I took Logan out of context, that Logan was a victim, that I withheld—
Oh, no, he took Logan out of context.
text messages. Logan isn't suing me for any of the original investigation, though, because he knows he can't. Instead, at the end of the lawsuit, we find what my defamation really is. I'm being sued for 2 videos and 1 tweet where I advocated for refunds. For the victims. Yes, you heard me right.
He's getting sued over the videos after the investigation?
Logan Paul sued me after I tried to get his fans, the Cryptozoo investors, a full refund. Remember, there are 2 parts to Cryptozoo, the NFTs and the Zoo tokens, and Logan chose only to refund the NFTs, which is a minority of the losses, and I had a major problem with that. I told Logan this, I've stated over and over my opinion, that it is disappointing for someone as rich as Logan to not make things fully right, and instead only pay back a small part of the losses while fighting the rest of the victims in court.
I mean, this is just a base take, honestly.
And it's those videos and tweet where I ask for refunds, which I'm being sued for. The first video in question is about Logan Paul not paying out refunds for 6 months. The second video was about Logan's partial refund, having a clause to make sure you couldn't sue him for the rest of your refund. And the tweet, I simply said, Logan's the type of guy to thank you for exposing a scam and block you when you remind him to pay up.
I mean, but that's just what happened, though. How is he getting sued over this tweet when he's literally just saying what happened? Logan Paul did thank him for exposing the scams. And then Logan Paul did block him when Coffeezilla asked him to pay up. So...
I mean, yeah, now he's the type of guy to then sue you. Now, I'm sure Logan doesn't like it when I say things like Logan's victims or Logan's scam, but I have a question. If they're not Logan's victims, whose victims are they? Even Logan admits they are victims. He told me via text, just thought we had the same goal of helping victims instead of a divisive social media war. So he agrees people have been wronged by his game.
What I don't understand is how Logan can think that they aren't his victims when he said they could play the game and then he didn't deliver the game and then they lost money because they invested in the game and the game didn't come out. Like, am I stupid? Why does he think that's not his problem?
You know, the thing that he said will earn you money.
It's a really fun game that makes you money.
So
I cannot get over that clip of him being, it's a really fun game that makes you money. A game that he himself had not played, in my opinion. In my opinion, he could not have played the game. He could not have known that it was fun because it was never even released. So, like, why does he think it's a fun game that can make you money?
how are these not Logan's victims? He, of course, would say it's his business partner's fault. But remember, Jake and Eddie have been out of the picture for years. And yet, Cryptozoo hasn't been released, despite Logan constantly promising it, and of course, also threatening to sue me.
We're gonna handle this ourselves while we continue to build Cryptozoo, and I'll see you in court. By the time this comes out, it'll be done. The game's gonna be made. You're gonna have the opportunity to get your money back.
He said it again.
If you don't want to play the game. And I'm going to take care of the people who made me look like this was a scam perpetrated by me.
Right. Logan wants to sue me and release a finished Cryptozoo game, but he's only done one of those. Since Logan can't blame his partners, Jake and Eddie, for this because they've been out of the picture, do you think he'll take accountability for not launching Cryptozoo? No. This time, he blames the government.
No.
He says releasing Cryptozoo has too many regulatory hurdles. Maybe they should have thought of that before multi-millions of dollars of zoo tokens and eggs were sold.
Oh, now there's too many regulatory hurdles for you to make the game. How did you not know that before you announced the game? What?
And now Logan would rather blame the government than take accountability. Or if you let him keep talking, Logan might rant about internet reporters having too much responsibility.
These internet journalists, internet investigative reporters have way too much responsibility on their hands that is being mismanaged and wielded in a really inappropriate way.
It's honestly funny to watch this guy whine about his problems, which you can barely hear over what sounds like a private jet. Which brings me to another problem Logan has. Part of any defamation case is damages, and proving someone has harmed your reputation. But isn't Logan richer than ever with Prime? And did he have a reputation to harm? His
Did he have a reputation to harm is a fantastic question.
lawsuit shows comments calling Logan a scammer, possibly to...
Oh my... It's Drake all over again. I'm suing because people on the internet were mean to me, and it's his fault. They're making memes about me. Look at these tweets. They hate me.
suggest he's been hurt by my videos, but
I'm gonna sue.
You have to have a reputation to lose one. And by the time of my reporting in question, Logan Paul was already accused of participating in multiple crypto pump and dump schemes. That article does not
Dink doink is my favorite coin.
reference my work. So Logan had already had a reputation.
Oh, boo-hoo. Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
As a scammer before my investigation, at least if you believe their allegations. So this lawsuit from beginning to end is groundless, meritless, frivolous, and Logan knows that because behind the scenes, in clips he didn't want to get out, he's saying I'm thorough and good-hearted. But in public, he wants to sue me, silence me, and cost me money, because that's the one department where we both know he's got me beat.
Lobry Graham and Logan Paul.
We might have facts, we might even have evidence, but he's got all the money and the lawyers. And this is where I have to get to my one embarrassing mistake in all of this. See, my defense against rich people like Logan Paul is media insurance, you know, for frivolous lawsuits. So when I was sued, I immediately called my insurance company to file a claim, so I wouldn't have to pay for it. But they told me they're not gonna pay. They're trying to get out of covering us, using lawyers and fine print. It's a long story that I will be explaining on my second channel because insurance underwriting is very boring. But suffice to say, I got Dylan Danished. I may have even gotten scammed. I'm not quite sure. For now, the bottom line is we have to fight Logan with our personal funds, which means I need to ask for your support. If you want to help and are able to help, there are two ways to contribute to our fight against Logan Paul. One, you can join our Patreon, which supports the channel. Or you can buy exclusive merch at Coffeezilla.store, where we just released the Coffeezilla defense drop. That's right. Life hands you lawsuits. You get rejected by your insurance.
Man, insurance, man. Don't even get me started. I used to work for some I was in the business of phone insurance for a little bit, and let me just tell you, man, they will always try to find a way to hoe you.
just released the Coffeezilla defense drop. That's right. Life hands you lawsuits. You get rejected by your insurance. Make merch. So here's the deal. These shirts will be available for pre-order for only the next 14 days. And 100% of profits we make from selling them will go to this lawsuit. If for some weird reason there's money left over, it will be dedicated to future legal costs for this channel. I just want to let you know they're available, and it's a cool way to support the lawsuit while also getting something in return. I didn't want to just set up a GoFundMe. So if you want to do that, just know pre-orders take a few weeks to get done because we make them after you order. And remember, you have 14.
I'm not gonna lie. Coffeezilla got a crazy bag off this, which is good. He deserves it because the fact that Logan Paul is trying to drag him into court and sue him over just like telling him to please pay back the people that were victims of the game that never released, like, it's crazy to sue somebody over that.
Days. And you can get that at coffeezilla.store. I'll link that below. It's coffeezilla.store. All right, now we're going to shift gears and talk about the final part of this lawsuit. Why did Logan Paul sue me now? It's been over a year since he apologized and thanked me.
Thank you, Coffeezilla. I am very grateful for your work and your investigation. And I mean that. Thank you, bro.
It might seem strange, but I've got some fun facts for you that may or may not be related. Did you know 6 days before the lawsuit, I had featured Logan Paul in a teaser for a video? Did you know 21 hours before the lawsuit, I had texted Logan for comment? Did you know I told him he had 24 hours to respond, and Logan sued me 3 hours before the deadline? Yep, that's right. Logan's lawyers then threatened me in that lawsuit email that if I report on this new story, Logan might hold me accountable. And
Ooh, I'm gonna hold you accountable. If you report on me again, I'm gonna hold you accountable. That's just a fancy way of saying I'm going to sue you.
Logan's definition of accountability seems to mean he'll sue me, which is why I believe this lawsuit was not designed to win, but to shut me up, to threaten me, using Logan's wealth and a federal court system without anti-slap to send a message. Do not tell that story. Of course, I don't believe that's the only reason I was sued. Clearly, Logan wanted to sue me for a while, but I believe this new investigation played a role in pulling the trigger. Maybe Logan's team will deny this. Maybe they'll say it's coincidence they sued 3 hours before a deadline. Maybe it's coincidence I announced a story about Logan 6 days before, and maybe it's coincidence that Logan's lawyers threatened me about this new story while suing me for the last story that I hadn't discussed in 6 months. But I don't think so. Either way, when someone threatens new reporting in a lawsuit about old reporting, the effect is the same. So, what was this new story? Well, it's partly about a Canadian law enforcement investigation. And
Canadian law enforcement investigation. Wild.
It's partly about something.
What a low-life douche. I concur.
I told Logan to help him. Yes, believe it or not, I tried to help Logan Paul. To explain, we need to go back to when Cryptozoo first got exposed.
See, this is what you get for being nice to terrible people.
Logan said he was going to sue me, but got backlash. So he called me to apologize. He said he was wrong and wanted to make things right. I made it clear refunds are the absolute right move going forward. And to my surprise, he agreed. 100%, man. We're on the same page. But we weren't. Logan now doesn't use the word refund. He calls this a buyback. But
interesting.
At the time, I need you to understand. I thought Logan was going to announce a full refund. So I began trying to help him. And dare I say, I was even nice to the guy. You can see that I tried to offer people who might be able to trace blockchain damages to refund people.
Man, Coffeezilla did all this work to try and help Logan Paul get right and get the people right and still got sued. That's so fucking sad, dog.
And in the same spirit, I made Logan aware of potential problems at a different company he co-owned, called Liquid Marketplace.
On a platform that I co-founded called Liquid Marketplace, it allows co-ownership of top-tier assets. So instead of one person, me owning this card, we as a collective can co-own it together.
This was a fractionalized collectible platform where Logan sold things like roughly half of a $5 million Pokemon card. The idea was...
Whatever happened to Cryptozoo, though?
It never came out.
You could buy tokens that represented partial ownership in rare collectibles. That video, by the way, got 8 million views.
It's coming, don't worry.
And a lot of people bought into this platform. The problem was, I had heard troubling stories about this company, and I was trying to verify if the claims were true. So I had gone to the CEO, Ryan Bahadouri, to ask him questions, but he kept dodging meetings. And I don't mean he refused meeting with me. I mean, we would set up meetings and then he did not show up. So I was troubled. And I brought this up to Logan. I figured if he's going to make one company right, make them all right. Otherwise, it might come back to bite him. I mean, can you imagine the disaster if another one of Logan Paul's co-founded companies was discovered to have scammed his fans?
Never, surely not.
Hypothetically, that would be a very bad look. So I'm thinking, while he refunds Cryptozoo, Logan can push the CEO to talk with me, and I can figure out the truth. Maybe Logan can fix it if there's something wrong. And you can see Logan responds to me. He says, gonna push Ryan to talk to you. Again, appreciate it, man. Now, I don't hear back from Ryan or Logan about this, so after a while, I follow up again. I say, let me know if Ryan plans on talking. A lot of nasty stories still out there about Liquid Marketplace, embezzlement, etc., and he's dodged meeting me already once. Now,
yo, shout out AC for the $10. Appreciate you. My favorite HGTV show as a game is not hard if you're smart. I grew up on SimCity and Tycoon games, management games, scratch a certain itch in the brain, and Legal Paul knows that pure exploitation. Yeah. He's the worst.
Now, obviously, the most shocking part of this is the word embezzlement. I need to make it clear. This is not an accusation. I am not accusing Logan Paul or Liquid Marketplace of wrongdoing. I brought it up in our texts because it is my job to investigate unverified claims. That's the whole point of me wanting to meet with the CEO, but I was stonewalled. Logan never replied, despite me reminding him again via email 5 months later that I wanted to talk to Ryan about, quote, embezzlement and, quote, potential fraud. Once again, not accusing anyone of wrongdoing. I'm simply doing my job at the time.
He'd be extra careful. He's like, please don't sue me again.
To chase down rumors and unverified claims. Without concrete proof, I would have never talked about any of this. But on June 19th, 2024, things changed because the Ontario Securities Commission revealed a Liquid Marketplace investigation where they accused Liquid Marketplace of being a multi-layered fraud, taking in $2.7 million from the sale of these fractionalized collectibles. The platform allegedly did not do exactly what it promised. Some of the blockchain tokens did not even...
Didn't do what it promised? Wait, it didn't do what it promised? Logan Paul, surely not. No, that doesn't sound like him.
But even worse was the allegation that approximately $3 million was misappropriated from $10 million they raised of investor funds. This is a very similar claim to the one I had tried to verify. Ryan Bahadori, the guy I tried to speak to, was accused of, quote, making hidden payments to shell corporations without any legitimate business purpose. As were two other of the founders. And Ryan was accused of, quote, using company credit cards to buy high-end fashion, expensive jewelry and watches, personal health and luxury spa services. If only there was someone who could have investigated this sooner. Now,
if only there was somebody that could have investigated this sooner. So Coffeezilla becomes aware of these accusations. And because it is, again, another Logan Paul project, another Logan Paul production, he's like, hey, yo, Log. I didn't know you were on Twitch. Yeah, I am on Twitch. Follow the channel. He's like, yo, Logan, since we have direct one-to-one communication now, I figured I'd let you know that some weird stuff's going on with Liquid Marketplace, the place that you've been promoting. This project, Liquid Marketplace, some weird stuff's coming out about your people. Let me give you a heads up. And Logan's like, thanks, dog. I'm gonna sue you.
It is really important to say Logan Paul is not accused by the OSC. Only 3 of his co-founders and his company is. But given the history...
Why does this keep happening? For the record, it's not Logan. It's just people in his company. It's just the people that he's working on the project with. Just another crazy coincidence. Where this thing that Logan is a part of and is promoting the most, the people that are involved are being accused of terrible things. It's not Logan himself.
Street, I had questions. After all, Logan's promotional video about Liquid Marketplace is still up. And the reason many people cared about Liquid Marketplace at all was arguably Logan Paul. So here were my questions. And as I read this, it's important to correct. I say Liquid Marketplace got accused of embezzlement. Technically, the OSC alleged misappropriation of funds. Those are similar. They're not the same. So I wanted to correct that. But here's what I asked. Quote, did you take any action on hearing these allegations over a year ago? Did you get approached by the Ontario Securities Commission? And is it true that Liquid Marketplace lied about their claims of insurance, appraisals, and co-ownership as the Ontario Securities Commission alleges? You can see I gave him 24 hours to respond.
These are some heavy-ass questions, I'm not gonna lie.
On June 26th at 2:03 p.m. And I was promptly sued June 26th.
Yo, shout out on Lauren. Got about, y'all have a good one. Don't worry, I have liked the video. Thank you. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful day.
7th at 11:28 a.m. with roughly 3 hours to spare. Now I want to be clear. I don't know the answers to the questions I sent. Maybe Logan secretly whistleblew to the OSC when I first went to him. I don't know. That's why you ask questions as a reporter. But now the story is not about those questions. It's about why I was sued immediately after asking them and threatened if I reported about Liquid Marketplace in a way they didn't like. This is not how I wanted this story to come out because there's still so much we don't know and so much I can't say now for legal reasons. Maybe Logan's totally innocent. Maybe he surrounded himself with scumbags who defrauded his fans.
Yeah, maybe Logan didn't do anything. Maybe he just so happened to hire people that scammed his fans, and he just so happened to hire other people that are also kind of shady. Maybe it's just one big coincidence. Maybe it just happens to be another situation where literally everybody around Logan Paul is in the wrong, and he's just an innocent saint that did nothing wrong. That's probably all it is.
Maybe he'll do a refund for this project. I don't know, because I never got the chance to find out. I tried to investigate, but I was stonewalled and sued when I asked questions. Make no mistake.
I tried to investigate, but I got sued.
Though, this investigation is still ongoing, and you can reach me at the email below if you were affected. I will release my full investigation when it's appropriate because even if Logan doesn't want to answer questions, it doesn't mean I have to stop asking them. So in summary, Logan's lawsuit is not about my original reporting into Cryptozoo. Even if you take this lawsuit on its own without context, it's an argument over Logan not refunding victims in full. It's Logan insisting he's not to blame. It's all his business partner's fault. But I don't think that aligns with the publicly known facts. That's my opinion. For years, Logan has controlled Cryptozoo, and yet the game is still not out. Logan is now blaming the government for that.
Wait, it's still not out? Oh.
Instead of himself. And he also blames me for losing his good reputation, but you can't lose something you never had. Not to mention, Logan is arguably richer than ever, and he's on the record finding my reporting thorough and good-hearted. So this defamation lawsuit feels frivolous even on the surface. But if you dig deeper, there's an even more compelling story, which I personally believe, where the goal is to crush new investigations while taking revenge on old ones. In this version, Logan might not even care about winning. Legal battles are expensive, and in the world of money, he's got me beat. So he can try to silence me by weaponizing the law, he can sue me for doing my job, he can sue me for asking questions, and he can sue me for asking for refunds. But it's going to backfire, because I think it reveals Logan as a bully rather than someone who's truly sorry. Because Logan may be a master at convincing people he's changed, but I'm convinced it's the follow-through where things go wrong. You know, the actually changing part. There was a time where even I believed Logan was going to fully refund victims. That's why I was so nice to him, and tried to help despite him threatening.
Coffeezilla and I got the same problem. We're just too nice. We're just too damn nice. Coffeezilla really thought that Logan was going to release the game. Didn't happen. Coffeezilla really thought that Logan was going to pay these people all the way back. Still hasn't happened. Coffeezilla really thought that he wasn't going to get sued. Got sued. Tough. Tough.
Threatening to sue me. But when it came time to pay up, Logan chose a minority refund and to fight the rest of the victims in court who wanted their money. And when I complained about that, Logan went from sorries and thank yous to lawyers and I'm suing you real quick. The irony is, it was that same initial belief in Logan's capacity to change that also made me bring up Liquid Marketplace to help stop potential problems. And yet here we are. The company is now accused of being a multi-layered fraud by the OSC. And the CEO, who I tried to talk to multiple times, is alleged to have misappropriated money. This is despite me trying to talk to Logan directly many times as he asked.
Maybe we could have talked about this if you had reached out to me personally.
That's just what he's been doing.
Not my manager, Jeff, who is not me, Steven.
Well, I did try to
He is so upset.
reach out personally, and I got sued and threatened a day later.
Who is not me, Steven.
Well, I did try to reach out personally, and I got sued and threatened a day later. That, I think, says a lot about Logan's supposed change and his belief in accountability. Maybe the person he really believes in accountability for is not himself, but me, specifically when I try to get accountability from him. If you want to support this lawsuit, the best way is coffeezilla.store. You have 14 days. Or you can support on Patreon.
I wanted so badly to buy some merch at this time, but I was broke when this initially came out. But I'll probably hit up Coffeezilla's Patreon. I'll see what's good. But yeah, I think this is pretty much it.
Thank you for listening and have a nice day.
Yo! That's it. We done did it. We done did it. We done did it. We done did it. Chathu, I told you we were in for a long one. 3 hours and 8 minutes. Tap in. What did we learn? GG's? Yeah. What did we learn? Pogan Law? Mr. Logo himself? He said he was going to put out a fun game that made you money. He put out no game. The only people that made money was his team. See, there was this misconception that there was going to be a game that you could play as a fan of his that would get you money. But no. The idea of the game you were supposed to buy into, and the people that were making money were just the people around him. So it seems, based on Coffeezilla's reporting. Thanks for doing this one. I already watched all of it before, but the more people that know about these scammers, the better. I agree. Oh, and Derapy created Legal Paul. I probably did not. But I appreciate you all. If you have not already, like the video. We are so close to hitting 35,000 subscribers. I like big round numbers. And I would appreciate it if you all help me get there. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Shout out to anybody that's at work right now. I hope that the past 3 hours has helped the day fly by a little bit for y'all. As you all know, it's
Wing Wong Wednesday.
So expect a podcast. I'm subbed on YouTube. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Shout out my people. Shout out my people. Shout out my people on Twitch. We are live on Twitch at Derapy Pod all the time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you all for being nice to each other. Thank you for being nice to me. I feel the love. Yes, we got to get me to 40K. At 40K, I'm doing a Henny-fueled Yap session. I'm dead ass about that. I'm not gonna crash out like Snackademics and start screaming about people kicking my back in. But here's a 10 out of 10 song that you may or may not have heard before. Love you, mean it, and enjoy the outro. It's one of my favorite songs. So yeah, see you soon for Wing Wong Wednesday. Goodbye.